Portions of the following program may be unsuitable for younger or more sensitive viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember, the enemy has only images and illusions, behind which he hides his true motives. Destroy the image, and you will break the enemy.
I'm here to tell you tonight that the businessmen, the mayor of this city, the police commissioner of this city, and everybody in the white power structure of this city must take a responsibility for everything.
Luther and I, and everyone in this arena tonight, are unified by the same great American values. We're proud of our country. We respect our flag. Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of off the field right now, out, he's fired. He's fired!
Race is when you use your power and influence to subject people into inferiority. Utterances can't be racist.
Look around you, man. They own this shit. They own this couch you sitting on, them shoes you got on your feet, this building, this school, this country, you. We're behind enemy lines, dog.
So you must first of all remember that this system was not originally designed with black people in mind. Right on. And it definitely was not prepared for black people to in the end begin to demand their rights and an equal share in this country which they died for. Right on. Hey, and we definitely are not going back to Africa.
In the church, we used to sing the song, "Good news, the chariot is coming." While you sit here today, knowing that you have come to hear good news, you must realize in advance what good news for you might be bad news for somebody else. What good news for the sheep might be bad news for the wolf.
They say, oh, things are getting so much better for you. In 1849, it was hitting blacks on the head 100 times a day. In 1990, they hit them 48 times a day. Isn't it better? Oh, it's got to be better. You're saying 52 blows.
The only purpose of most black Americans on earth today is to destroy.
I think that's noble. Italians love Italians. When Irish love Irish. But when a nigga loves a nigga, it's an unpardonable sin. They have blood in their hands. When we say they have blood in their hands, we are not saying him, George Bezos, went and killed. But white people colonized us. They dispersed us. They enslaved our people. They sucked our economy dry. They are still sucking it dry even today. That's white people. Tony Blair, George Bush, Napoleon Bonaparte, Leopold, Adolf Hitler, Benjamin Netanyahu. All white people, they are the same. They are racist and they are full of hate.
I've been waiting for you. You have many questions, and though the process has altered your consciousness, you remain irrevocably human. Ergo, some of my answers you will understand, and some of them you will not. Concordantly, while your first question may be the most pertinent, you may or may not realize it is also the most irrelevant.
Why am I here?
Our world is coming crumbling down. The coons are coming.
You have to understand that white America has an uncanny way of making the victim the victimizer. Excuse me, master, for putting my head in the way of your club. Not that your club is brutalizing my head and putting hickeys on it. My head got in the way of your free swing and broke your shiny stick, and I want to apologize for that.
Your life is the sum of a remainder of an unbalanced equation inherent to the programming of the Matrix. You are the eventuality of an anomaly which, despite my sincerest efforts, I have been unable to eliminate from what is otherwise a harmony of mathematical precision. While it remains a burden assiduously avoided, it is not unexpected and thus not beyond a measure of control, which has led you inexorably here.
There are more connections in the human body than there are stars in the galaxy. We possess a gigantic network of information to which we have almost no access.
Matrix is older than you know. I prefer counting from the emergence of one integral anomaly to the emergence of the next, in which case this is the 6th version.
5 1s before me. 3. There are only 2 possible explanations. There were 5 1s before me. Either no one told me, or no one knows.
Precisely. As you are undoubtedly gathering, the anomaly is systemic, creating fluctuations in even the most simplistic equations.
Control me! I'm gonna smash you to You can't make me do anything like my friend. Choice. The problem is a choice.
Let us remember that we are not brutalized because we're Baptists. We're not brutalized because we're Methodists. We're not brutalized because we're Muslims. We're not brutalized because we're Catholics. We're brutalized because we are black people in America.
Because white people made him to be what he is. They made him to look evil, because that's their role, to make all of us black people to look evil and to hate ourselves. I can't hate.
You're a nigga till you die. If you're a poor nigga, you're a poor nigga. If you're a rich nigga, you're a rich nigga. But you never stop being a nigga. And if you get to be educated, you're just an educated nigga.
I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is teaching you and I and trying to tell the white man to get this powder keg out of his house. Let the black man separate from his house. Let the black man have his own house. Let the black man have his own land and his own property.
I thought the bitch was white! Damn it! I thought the bitch was white!
That's true.
I think that white people are so guilty, knowing what they've done to black people, that they feel if the deeds were reversed, they would hate the black man if he had done the same thing to them. So it's actually, it reflects a guilt complex on the part of whites when they ask us, do we hate them? And if you notice, Uncle Sam has formed a habit of going all over the world. He calls it the ugly American, or the American image. He thinks that everybody hates him because it's a guilt complex. And if you think that if you are worried about Europeans hating you, and they're your allies and your cousins, well, naturally it would follow for you to think that Negroes in this country would hate you, especially in light of what has been done to black people in this country by white people.
Now, check it out. The white ball dominates everything, right? Knocks the shit out the yellow ball, the red ball, right? And the game's over when the white ball drives the black ball completely off the table.
But you have to see that all of this is hypocrisy.
I love Malcolm. Malcolm called me the Sunday that he died. I was working Basin Street East. He said, Brother Greg, you coming by today? And I said, Malcolm, I love you. And I said, I love you so much, I don't even want to take a chance to be there. He said, what do you mean, Brother Greg? I said, well, I close tonight, Sunday night at Basin Street East. And I said, but I had my wife book me a flight into Chicago at 8 o'clock this morning. And I'm going to Chicago, and I had way beneath my salary booked me into a college about 10 miles from the airport. And I'm going to go there and speak this afternoon, and I'm going to stay there until they tell me you dead. Because I'm not going to let this government get 2 of us for the price of 1. And I'm going to call Adam Clayton Powell when I finish talking to you and beg him not to come there. Because today, the United States government is going to get you.
Welcome to the Mr. Blows Your Mind show, which we call Black Minds TV, which is also Black Minds News. I want to thank all those who were present tonight. coming through to hang out with the man. After being off for a couple of days, you know, had to get back into the throes of things, trying to fix and worry how I'm going to get this working. So I'm hoping that everything is sounding copacetic, smooth, and all that, because I've been in the background doing a lot trying to get it to this level, right? So again, I want to thank those who are in the house tonight that is live, who are subscribers. Was good. You know, I know they finna say this is about to be the new year, but again, depending on whose calendar we looking at, right? Gregorian, are we talking about the originals? I mean, who are we talking about? Julian? I mean, who are we talking about to say there's only been 2018 years, going on 2019 years, that's been recorded of time, right? How do you go from one point of time to get down to 2018? But anyway, thank you for being here tonight. Passerbys, hey, you know it's grand opening always when you're over here. You can go down that aisle, see something you like, hit that like button, hit that dislike button. If you don't like what you hear or see, hit that comment and say, man, I think you full of BS. Agents, man, boy, y'all been working so hard, boy, y'all been depleting my time. It's like, boy, we're almost at 30 minutes, down to almost under 19. It's like, it's ridiculous. But again, you're doing your job. So, hey, you too, what's good, right? Again, as I was talking about, we don't know the time it is, right? We're talking about it's going to be 2019 and people all in a hustle and bustle, trying to get themselves ready, prepared to get out and, you know, let their head down and get a little drunk and do a little wildness and party and what all, you know, there's a lot of things that's going to go on, transpire tonight, ain't it? You know, for some of us, we done already did that. You know what I'm saying? Been there, done that. So we ain't not going to get out there and, you know, again, how you get longevity in life is knowing how to move through obstacles, right? And some things you participate, whether it is something beneficial, and if it's not, then you kind of have to just say, okay, I pass. Where we are today and the way the world is today, I mean, you put that bat juice or put that battery acid or put that battery in the back of most people, and that's going to cause a lot of things because, again, a lot of people are suppressed. A lot of people are trying to have a coping mechanism, and tonight they're going to concoct all of that in one evening, right? And a celebration of jovial, because basically when it comes down, you know what this actually is going to say tonight? That you get to put an extra digit on your tombstone. I'm going to say that again. You know what tonight gonna tell you? You get to put an extra digit on your tombstone, right? You're adding another year to the life of your tombstone, right? So let's say for people who pass, you know, again, for 18, just for this one day, gonna be like already a year, even though it's not a year, right? But we're not gonna we don't dwell on that because hopefully nobody gets hurt because, again, we don't, you know, that's not what we do. So let me get the spiel out before we get it going, because there's going to be one of these additional shows. Right, so hello and welcome to the Black Minds News. I'm your host, the Wyattologist, Mr. Blows Your Mind. This channel is to report, transmit, communicate, articulate, relay, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it be by news, video, websites, or quotes from publication. As I, your Wyattologist, right? Ain't your ask, I ask that the creator of the universe be here, heart, mind, and soul, and spirit. Because the truth don't need no partner. And you know, as a descendant of the DOS, as a descendants of slaves, on this channel over here, who created the greatest country, with the greatest land, who are the descendants of the best people, we give honor over here. Huh? Right? Because you know what my motto is? I ain't going to tell you what I heard. I'm going to tell you what I know. Now, you know, this channel here is particularly is a history, news, life. It's all raveled into this when I do. And I watch a lot of other people who do what they do. And I be like, okay, I hear your perspective. And, you know, you got your lane and everything. And everybody wants to make you kind of fit in the way they want or the way they see fit, right? You got your calling. We got mines, right? So I don't trip. I hear things. Nobody say nothing specific, but again, an artist knows his work, right? So, let me get into the show. I ain't gonna get into all that because that ain't my issue, right? I don't have no issue with that. That's that's other people's thing, right? So again, because I took a couple, days off because I had to get things right, and hopefully everything is going good, right? Hope everything is sounding copacetic, not all muffled, because I know I did that other live and I went back and I looked at the replay and I didn't kind of like the sound. I'm like, boy, the agent, boy, you be doing your business, don't you? Really got it hard. So, okay, I had to go back and tweak it. So, since I missed a couple of days of some things that had happened, but again, I had talked about this on some other couple shows back. Again, we're going to start off with this one right here. And then we'll come right back. Let's see if we can get it going. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this is going to work.
An update now on the former Lehigh University student who allegedly tried to poison his roommate. The Northampton District Attorney is now asking that he be held without bail after he allegedly tried to leave the country. Yuki Yang is back in the Northampton County Prison. Over the weekend, he posted $200,000 bail and then waived his right to deportation to China. DA John Morganelli says the move was an attempt to avoid prosecution on attempted homicide charges.
Let's see. All right. I don't know how they got it with my mic like that, but they got it anyway, right? So again, we got Yuki Yang. Again, we talked about that when we first heard. I did that story. We talked about where the individual who went to school at Lehigh University, who was roommating with a brother, right, Mr. Royal, and had been slowly, methodically, let's say, poisoning the brother, right? He was poisoning the brother, right? Then, after a period of time, brother going through the whole process of being ill and trying to figure out what is wrong with him, and finally he gets himself and go to the hospital, right? To come to find out he had thallium in his system. So he quit it. Well, the way I could have got this is it had to be because I don't go nowhere else and it's in this dorm. So, putting two and two together. Plus, there was some other issues that had to do with the fact that, there was graffiti, putting nigger on the desk and all that other stuff, right? And then they end up getting Yuki Yang, and then they had arrested him, right? Then they gave him a $200,000 bail, right? Now, again, because he had a lot of charges put on him, attempt murder and a whole bunch of things, but he had $200,000 bail, 20% off, got him $20,000. Yuki paid with cash, right? See, Yuki had 20 G's to put down and get up out of the situation. Now, he was thinking in his mind, he's already known as an international student, and myself was also thinking the same thing, like, he going to try to make that flight. He going to try to flee, right? How many of us could post 20 G cash right on the spot like that? Not too many of us, right? So he did. So again, they was up on the game. They tried to stay a step on to it. They got to figure too. So he ended up trying to flee, and then what happened? He got called up. So now he got him back in there, and then again, based on the simple facts, that old anti-Negroism, that's the word I use, because they got anti-Semitism for those of the so-called Jewish descent or religion. I don't know how the Jew became a race, but okay, we know religion. But so here we saying that anti-Negroism, when people got that and they exude their so-called hatred, what ended up happening? Well, you get to pay the price when you could get caught, right? So this story will develop as time goes on, because again, it was more as to the fact of, well, he's pretty much guilty. We can say alleged poisoning, right? But again, he was a chemist student, right? He's also admitted in his confession that he was putting, I was putting this thallium and stuff in my sandwich and my drink. And, I also had in the mind that if I couldn't pass the test, I was going to off myself with this stuff. So again, I don't know how you going to have any defense, right? I don't understand how you're going to get this other than you're going to plead some kind of mental issues, right? Other than that, this is pretty much a done deal. As time go on, as it develops even more, you can catch the end of the story right here, right? So that's how it is, right? Let me look at all this, make sure everything good before I get to go too deep in here. Let's see, I got a couple people in the house. I'd like to say what's good, everybody. Do I got any fam in the house? Let's see. Please wait while we try to reconnect you. Successfully completed. What is the chat disconnected? What? My chat is disconnected. How is my chat disconnected? Would somebody like to hit the hit and let me see if everything good? Would somebody like to hit in the chat? Because it's telling me that my chat. They're trying to reconnect you. Successfully connected. So was my chat? Is it on or is it off? Anybody know? Somebody like to just give me, put a 1 on there. Just let me see if everything good before we move forward. Can you give me a 1? Anybody like to give me a 1? See my chat good. My chat ain't on? Oh, okay. Thank you. There you go. That's I like that cat right there. Right. All right. So we're gonna move on. So the next part I got here. Right. Again, you know, I do updates sometimes about some stuff that I had already did. So again, what about this situation here? We talked about this one here, right? Again, you know, anti-niggerism, right? You know how people got that, you know, they do it on the slide, they do it confrontational, or they do it, you know, again, using their position of power. So again, we have this other situation that was up in Oregon, right? I mean, Oregon, Portland, Oregon, where the brother had went to the concert, came back, mama called him up, right? Was like, hey, you know, and he decided to take this call, right? So let me show you this, and then we'll talk about that afterwards. Check this out, and we'll be right back.
2 employees accused of racial profiling at a Hilton Doubletree Hotel in Oregon are on leave this morning. The hotel apologized a second time to Jermaine Massey. In a widely shared Instagram video and several other videos, he claimed he was targeted for, quote, calling his mother while black. DeMarco Morgan shows us how this is the latest incident of police being called on African Americans who are doing seemingly ordinary things.
It's another talker this morning, guys. Good morning to everyone. Jermaine Massey was returning from a concert Saturday night when he said he went to a quiet corner of the hotel lobby to take a phone call from his mother. When a security officer, now dubbed Hotel Earl by the internet, approached him, things got heated.
You really want this PR issue, Earl? Do you?
Jermaine Massey was ordered to pack his bags and leave the Doubletree Hotel in Portland, Oregon, hours after he checked in.
A situation here.
The 71-year-old security guard, Earl Wesley Myers, had asked Massey for his room number. Massey said he didn't remember it and requested privacy for his phone call. Instead, Myers called for the police.
Why are they coming?
Escort you off the property.
Because what? And I'm staying here?
Not anymore.
He even went so far to say that he's there to protect the safety of the guests, as if I weren't a guest and I was causing a disturbance and I was a safety threat.
Massey says white guests in the lobby were not similarly questioned.
They're not loitering.
How am I loitering in an area that's public?
They're sitting here.
So this area is off limits after a certain time?
Only if you're a guest.
I am a guest.
You didn't tell me that.
I just checked in with my American Express.
And Massey produced his room key for a manager.
He wouldn't ask me to call 911 without any cause.
I didn't do anything to this man.
Okay.
I'm taking a phone call.
But responding officers warned Massey he could be arrested for trespassing if he stayed.
That I need to leave.
Control of the property, yes.
According to the police report, the 34-year-old who said he was a former FBI agent became loud and started yelling that the hotel was racist.
You know, judging someone based off of the color of their skin, you never know how it feels until you've actually been there. I could have went to jail had I responded a different way.
And the past year, police have been called on a group of black people barbecuing.
It's illegal to have a charcoal grill in the park here.
A girl selling bottled water on the sidewalk.
Illegally selling water without a permit?
And Bob Marley's granddaughter after she and her friends left their Airbnb.
Yeah, we're standing here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 police officers here. Yeah.
Massey checked into a different hotel Saturday after he was kicked out without a refund. On Thursday, the Doubletree announced it was reviewing its protocols and trainings and had launched an investigation. We have a zero-tolerance stance on discrimination of any kind, it said in a statement.
I plan to try to seek justice and make sure that doesn't happen to anybody else.
Now, Massey's attorney said in a statement his client was publicly humiliated and now wants the hotel to publicly answer to 2 questions. Why was he approached by security and interrogated? And why was he called a threat to the safety and security of guests? And guys, I got to point out, this actually happened to me about 2 weeks ago at an unnamed hotel. There was a security guard who came up to me and said, hey, what's your room number? And I gave him that look. And he said, oh, it's just for security reasons. And then there was a white couple on the side of me, and thankfully she spoke up. The lady did, and she said, well, you didn't ask for my room number.
Good for
I gave her this look like, okay.
Good for her.
What? You know, but that's what it will
takes.
take. It's going to take us working together, regardless of your race, your sex, your religion, speaking out. And of course, there are two sides to every story, so we don't know both sides, but it happens.
We don't know exactly what happened here, but newsflash, people of color stay at hotels, they live in apartment buildings, and they go to Starbucks.
And they barbecue.
Yes, they do.
And so lemonade sometimes, probably pretty tasty. DeMarco, thank you. Good to see you again this morning.
Good to see you as well.
All right. So again, we have the situation in Portland, Oregon, where being black is a crime or under suspicion, right? Anti-Negroism, right? What I calls it. So again, we have the young man, Jamie Macy, right, who was in the hotel lobby. They called it the Double Tree, right, in Portland, Oregon, who was confronted by a security guard named Earl, as we had already talked about a couple of days ago, right? And we come to find out that now, after the, media and social media, right, and the outrage that are by, people who are looking at that, has decided that Doubletree has decided to say we're going to go ahead and terminate old Mr. Earl, right? Due to the simple fact that it's not what we want to have the stigmatization to bring bad publicity on our business, so it would be incumbent on us to do what? To get rid of Mr. Earl, right? Oh, Hotel Earl. I mean, can you imagine that, right? Here you is, a guest in a hotel, got keys, right? I mean, just think about it. You questioning me, first of all, right? You saying I'm loitering. Okay, but once I identify and tell you that I'm a guest in the hotel, what should have been the first, response by him? Either, again, one story has said he asked him for his room number. But as you've seen in the video that he displayed, he showed he had that in his hand, right? Key and everything. And made up some cockamamie story to the front desk mug. And you calling 911, and he said, well, I wouldn't do that if he wouldn't, because, I mean, Earl's he's a good guy, and he wouldn't lie on you like that. Well, guess what? They gone too, right? See? Sometimes being in camaraderie and alliances don't pay, because sometimes you have to evaluate and say, hey, in my best interest right here. But again, we understand everything of your skin is your kin, even when they wrong, right? So you go down with them, right? So, that's kind of how we, black people of this nation, we look at it. We say, when we see white folks and you ain't out here talking that talk and making that move, then that's the same thing here. Again, kind of like in criminality. When they say that you can be an accomplice of the crime. You don't have to actually do it, but you are an accomplice to it. And so, because you were accomplice, you got the same thing. Earl did it, but you was accomplice and you got the same thing. So guess what, Mr. Macy, you got a 3-for-1 deal on that one. Kudos to you, sir. And you should be getting the check as time go on. We over here at the Mr. Blows Down Black Minds News, we'll report that to those who are avid watchers of the show. Hit that like button, dislike button, comment, I ain't shit. Whatever you want to say, it's all good. Now we're going to move on some more. Now, let's see. Well, again, we talk about this thing about this 2018. Today, everybody, or tonight, primarily younger folks, some, people of different ranges of age is going to get out here tonight and, cut a rug, as they say, and drink and party and fornicate and, crimes, and just people going to die. There's a whole lot going to happen tonight, right? When you have the masses of individuals, especially in this land, all kind of some Mellow cocktail, just something waiting, simmering to take off, right? So again, they showing this here. They were just showing the preparation that they're doing. So I seen this. I said, well, let me add this to the show because, you know, when I do the show tonight, most people probably either you're here because you're not going to be participating because you done been there, done that, right? You done did that. Or you just kind of say, you know, it's a little safety for me to stay in the house tonight other than being out there and possibly get myself involved in something or end up, you know, doing something I might regret later on, wake up and find out like, you know, those who've been there, done that, you know how that goes, right? So here's a little something put on the news about the preparation they're getting for tonight. So let's see how this goes. Check it out and be right back.
In just over 24 hours, revelers will start packing into Times Square, and the NYPD wants to make sure the big party goes off without a hitch.
ABC's Ariel Reshef is in Times Square with the new tactics police are using this year and the security measures in other big cities. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning, Eva. Good morning, Dan, and everyone out there. Officials not taking any chances, amping up security in this area, even using new technologies in the sky over Times Square to keep the crowd of more than 2 million expected to pack this area safe.
3, 2, 1.
The scene is set for one of the biggest New Year's Eve parties on the planet. Confetti tested, the ball ready to drop. More than 2 million people expected to pack New York's Times Square to ring in 2019. Officials saying there have been no credible threats to festivities, but ISIS propaganda on the internet prompting increased vigilance. The area will be teeming with thousands of uniformed and undercover officers.
It's going to be one of the most well-policed, best protected events at one of the safest venues in the entire world.
More than 50 canine units canvassing the crowd. And for the first time, an NYPD drone keeping a watchful eye from the sky above the main event.
It'll give us an expansive view from up above, which will be helpful.
5 dozen sanitation trucks and 200 police cars will block the perimeter where revelers will congregate to catch performances by some of the biggest stars. Tighter security a top priority at New Year's Eve celebrations across the country. At Boston's storied first night, extra officers will patrol the streets. Los Angeles beefing up security at the famous Hollywood sign. And in Sin City, Las Vegas police stationing snipers on rooftops and strike teams on the ground at hotels around the Strip.
And authorities here in New York are also embedding teams inside the hotels in this area to get to know the staff and spot any suspicious activity. But law enforcement across the country says the public plays a vital role in this. If you see something, say something. Guys.
All right, thanks, Ariel. And that's something everyone needs to remember this time of year. Coming up in our next half hour, my conversation with Ryan Seacrest and Jenny McCarthy about what they have planned for us for this New Year's Rocking Eve. A lot of fun things, and it looks like they're going to be under the umbrella again.
Yes. Exactly. A little taste of the rain to come.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.
All right, so I got to do some extra stuff when I get it doing, right? So again, preparation for they claim is always the most secure and most, right? All that work they got to do because, again, boy, the money that's being made tonight, right? That's a lot of money. The capitalist, boy. What is the sum totals out there? They ain't out there to protect the people. They out there to protect the business. You got too many people in one spot, drunk, high, all that. Free fall. You get what I'm saying? Like, man, a lot of stuff could jump off, right? So they out there with their preparation, and then they also understand that, again, you know, depending on what side of the fence you on, could be a good time to plot, wouldn't it? It would be a great time. Boy, the numbers would be extraordinary, wouldn't it, huh? Again, for those who, again, want to participate in that, again, myself, I'm not one that advocates on these particular holidays of celebration because it has nothing to do with me and mine. But again, I got nothing to celebrate, right? I got some things to be getting. We got some checks to be written. We got some, you know what I'm saying? We got some rights to, some wrongs to be righted. I ain't got time to be talking about that. You understand? Because again, this time is in whose synchronicity of this of time it is. It ain't our time, because again, as being descendants of, you know, humanity, I don't think you can put a time and tell us exactly this is the right time. Who talking about 2018? When you start counting? And who knew to start at what time to come backwards to go forward? Have you ever thought about that? How'd you go? Oh, because they told you that somebody was born. But yet that person wasn't even born, because that person wasn't even born at the time that they claimed that was. Again, right, if you're going to follow on that. So again, when did they come up with this, and who was the one that, again, so we don't know what time it is. We just know the time that they're telling you, and this is what you're following, right? So again, for those who want to participate and go out here and drink, because everybody, it just made it's about capitalism. Think about it. Went from Thanksgiving to Black Friday to Christmas to the money. You understand what I'm saying? People gonna get paid tonight. Them officers on that overtime, huh? Ain't get to bust a lot of drunk ass and all that shit, huh? That shit gonna happen tonight. Y'all know that. You those who know, unless you prepare yourself to be out there a little later on. Hopefully you don't get yourself involved. Have yourself safe, whatever you call yourself out there, participate. Again, I told you my spiel is, it's nothing but just another digit on your tombstone. Remember the two things, you got your birth and your death, and anything in between is what you done in life. See, we try to, again, it's about prolonging, right? It's about longevity, right? So again, you learn how to tread as you move in this life. Again, for those who celebrate, okay, kudos to you, because if not, I'm going to be talking about you on this show. All right, so moving on. Let's see what I got here. Well, since we're talking about some of the things that could go wrong, right? Some of the things that could just go wrong, right? Because again, there's always two sides of life, right? There's the positive and the negative, right? I've had people say, well, don't talk about the negative, race and all. Well, okay, you don't have to. That's your business, right? It's how you do what you do, right? So I seen this particular story, and I was like, damn. Okay, I get it. All right, so again, according to some of the things that's going to happen tonight, right? Again, I'm not trying to put a spell on people. We just know that it's just part of that ritual. Life and death is going to happen. There's going to be some born, because we're going to see that some baby is going to be born. Oh, the first baby in 2009, right? They're going to do that, and then you're going to have about the tragedies, right? So I seen this particular story here, and I thought about it. I said, damn. Well, I hope you got it in order, because check this out. They about to pass this. Check this out. It's going to trip you out. Check this out. Washington could become the first state to legalize human composting. You know I'm going to say that again. Washington could become the first state to legalize human composting. Washington residents are very excited about the prospect of becoming a tree or having different alternatives, State Senator Jamie Pedersen said. This story was done December the 29th from the NBC News, and this is how it reads. A process known as recomposition reduces human remains to compost. When Americans die, most are buried or cremated. Washington could become the first state to allow another option, human composting. The novel approach, known as recomposition, involves placing bodies in a vessel and hastening their decomposition into a nutrient-dense soil that can then be returned to families. The aim is a less expensive way of dealing with human remains that is better for the environment than burial, which can leach chemicals into the ground, or cremation, which releases earth-warming carbon dioxide. People from all over the state who wrote to me are very excited about the prospect of becoming a tree or having a different alternative for themselves, said State Senator Jamie Pedersen, a Democrat who was sponsoring a bill in Washington's legislature to expand the options for disposing of human remains. The recomposition bill would also make Washington the 17th state to allow alkaline hydrolysis, the dissolving of bodies in a pressurized vessel with water and lye until just liquid and bones remains. Pedersen plans to introduce the bill when the new legislative session begins next month. Pedersen sees recomposition as an environmental and social justice issue. He said allowing it would be particularly benefit people who can't afford a funeral or aren't comfortable with cremation. Recompose aims to charge $5,500 for its services, while a traditional burial generally costs more than $7,000 in 2017, according to the National Funeral Directors Association. Cremation can cost less than $1,000, though that doesn't include a service or an urn. The push to allow composition of human remains originates with Katrin Spade, 41, a Seattle-based designer who started focusing on the ideal in 2013 while working on her master's in architecture at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. We really only have two easily accessible options in the United States, cremation and burial, she said, and the question is, why do we only have two options, and what would it look like if we had a dozen? Spade's initial goal was to design a system that would restore people's connection to death and its aftermath, which she said had been severed in parts by the funeral industry. A friend introduced her to the farming practice of composition livestock after they died, called mortality composition or composting. The practice had been shown to safely keeping pathogens from contaminating the land while creating a richer soil. It was like a light bulb went off, and I started to envision a system that uses the same principle as mortality composting. That would be meaningful and appropriate for human beings, she said. She worked with researchers at Western Carolina University and the University of Washington to turn her vision, which she dubbed recomposition, into reality. The process involved placing unembalmed human remains wrapped in a shroud in a 5-foot by 10-foot cylindrical vessel with a bed of organic materials such as wood chips, alfalfa, and straw. Air is then periodically poured into the vessel, providing oxygen to accelerate microbial activity. (131 Fahrenheit) for 72 consecutive hours to destroy pathogens, according to Spade. This heat is generated by the natural occurring microbes. Recompose, a public benefit corporation, Spade in 2017, and the concept recently co-sponsored a $75,000 pilot program through Washington State University. Associated with Sustainable and Organic Agriculture at Washington State, the 5-month program recomposed 6 donor bodies in a carefully controlled environment, aiming to allay concerns about spreading pathogens. The research concluded in August, and the recomposition of human remains was found to be safe. According to Carpenter Boggs, who plans to submit her results for publication in 2019, recomposition isn't for everyone. Some pathogens, like the bacteria that causes anthrax, are known to survive composition in animals. So recomposition safety will depend on excluding people with certain illnesses. The advantages that I see as a soil scientist and an environmental scientist is that it is relatively low in resource use and it is also creates this soil-like of compost-like products that helps to store carbons. Carpenter and Boggs said human compost adds nutrients to soil, potentially improving its ability to absorb water and reduce erosions, she added. An earlier version of Pedersen's bill, which included alkaline hydrolysis but not recomposition, failed in Washington in 2017, which Pedersen attributed to opposition from the Roman Catholic Church. Thomas Parker, a former lobbyist for the Washington State Catholic Conference, said the church was concerned about the dissolved human remains draining into sewers. But State Senator Michael Baumgartner, a Republican who chaired the Senate Labor and Commerce Committee in 2017 when the bill was introduced, said the church opposition did not play a significant role in the legislation's failure. We prioritized other issues that year, Baumgartner said. Alkaline hydrosis may go against Catholic doctrine that requires the human body to be respected, said James Legrees, theological advisor to the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Legrees was unfamiliar with recomposition, but noted that it could be problematic if body parts are separated in any way. There's little risk of this happening through recomposition unless family, according to Spain, who said she has received opposition from any group, religion, or otherwise. She anticipates that some families may choose to take loved ones' remains home to plants, while others may donate remains to nourish conservation lands. Peterson has signed up several bills in the Senate, which is now under Democratic control. He's optimistic about its chances. Governor Jay Inslee, a Democrat, has now taken a public position on the bill requirement. If the bill passes April 1st, 2020, this would allow Recompose to officially launch operations in Seattle. Spade hopes to partner with home and cemetery composition for the states and country. In the meantime, her company is developing a modular vessel design and refining its model. Say the pilot program at Washington State University affirms the inherent of African humans to soil. This is something that's really good for me, she said. All right, as I said, the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Huh? Did you hear that? Hey, yeah, did you hear that? Did you hear how the sound went to huh? Did you hear all that? See, what is it that Mr. Blow Your Mind is talking about? What is Mr. Blow Your Mind bringing to your attention that those have to do what they do? Huh? Some people may not even understand what Mr. Blows Your Mind do, because they may think that what I'm doing might be some kind of, you're doing that Caucasian stuff. I bring information that maybe you need to look at a little bit, right? So I say, okay, what this decomposing? What is that? What are you talking about? Human composing. Well, what they saying is, well, we're going to find another, let's say, cheaper way, right? For those who can't afford the $7,000 or more for a funeral, or, you know, maybe cremation, well, why about this decompose? What about human composing, right? Don't you want to give yourself back to the environment? What we do is we're going to liquefy you down to the bone, and we're going to, you know, turn you into some mulch, huh? You know, mulch, right? And you could be with the trees and the grass and the, you know, recycling the circle of life, Lion King, right? That whole, right? Remember that, right? And I said, well, in one aspect, there's some people, again, who say when their time comes, they don't want no funeral, they would like to be cremated and take my ashes and put them into the ocean. Oh, that's so poetically, it sounds good, right? But I say, well, again, you know, financially, and being as descendants of, you know, the DOS, you know, we always are looking for a good bargain, right? So I said, well, who would this probably be more likely to be utilizing this? And who stands to gain more? Now, again, there's always two sides to the story. Now, again, you don't have the long finances, your money not long, your money short. Champagne tastes water money, as they say, right? But he said, we're going to take the economical way. Now, again, for the family, you know, they do what they have to do. Again, you know, people are mourning, they're going through the situation, okay? And you turn the mulch and, okay, the deed is done, right? But does that mean actually when you get the mulch that it is the person, is what I have to ask. Is it the person? Because, you know, sometimes they talk about cremation and they talk about people getting cats and dog ashes and all that stuff. Because you don't know, ashes is ashes, right? You ain't going in there and let me go and get these tested to find out if this is my loved one. You don't do that. So I'm saying maybe this is a good way to harvest up some more organs. Get some more body parts, right? You've given the body, and all they got to do is give you some mulch, right? And this is Charlie, huh? This is old Gianni, huh? You don't know what that is. Because, again, you're mourning. You just, you mourn over the loss and trying to, recall and kindle or so forth. This is the process, and you trust the process. I'm saying, I say about this. Well, they always talk about how expensive the funerals is. Well, let's just say, for the record, body parts are very expensive these days. So if somebody don't got no money, they'll offer one of the organs to be able to pay for the funeral. How about that? You know what I'm saying? Spleen $225,000. That's some, kind of like an old school car. Parts. They say, what's wrong with this car? I'm gonna junk it. Yeah, they give you $200-300 for junking the car, but then they can make about $3,000-4,000 off all the parts when they break it down, right? Same thing with the body, especially a black body like the pig, room to the tomb. We want everything on it. I got some use for everything I can take off there. Unless, and this story says, unless you have something incommunicable that could be spreaded, maybe we won't touch it. So all you that's out here, got them good healthy bodies, you'll be on that slab getting cut up and diced up. Well, again, we gone. We don't care, right? All right, anyway, but that's coming to a state near you, right? You know how they go, start in one state, and eventually it will go from one state to the next state. Next thing you know, it will be there, right? So again, I brought that to you. You can't say you didn't know because you heard it right here on Black Minds News. All right, well, this one here, right? Let me show this here because, I kind of thought about this one here. I was like, damn, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of creative, right? It's kind of creative. You know how people is when people are coming to get you, right? Somebody after you, right? And sometimes you may not be as accessible to get. So people come up with creative ways how they want to come up and get you. So, something that's happened a couple of days ago. Again, I would have had already gave it to you, but I took the day or two off because I had to get all this stuff. I hope the sound is good. And this took place, right? This right here took place, and I was like, man, check this out, and I'll be right back. Check this out. Be right back.
Man dressed as postal employee shoots 2 people inside Chicago home. A gunman dressed as a postal worker knocked on a door in Chicago and opened fire, wounding 2 people inside the house on Thursday, police said. The victim said a suspect claimed he was delivering a package at 2:18 p.m. CT, 3:18 p.m. ET, on the city's south side, near the corner of 99th and State Streets, authorities said. When residents inside opened up, the gunman began shooting, striking a 27-year-old man 3 times in the chest and a 23-year-old woman in the buttocks, Chicago police spokeswoman Jessica Rocco said. The man was listed in serious condition and the woman was stable at Advocate Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, police said. Chicago police on Friday morning could not definitely say whether the gunman, who has not been arrested, knew his victims, or if he was a fake or real U.S. Postal Service employee. The detectives are investigating if this was a real postal worker or someone impersonating one to get access to the victims, Rocco said. A rep for the U.S. Postal Inspection Service also said Friday that they couldn't rule out the shooter as a real letter carrier. David K. Lee is a breaking news reporter for NBC News.
Man dressed as postal employee shoots 2 people inside Chicago home. You know I'm going to say that again. Man dressed as postal employee shoots 2 people inside Chicago home. This story was done in the NBC News, December the 28th, 2018, and this is how it reads. A gunman dressed as a postal worker knocked on the door in Chicago and opened fire, wounding 2 people inside the house on Thursday, police said. The victim said a suspect claimed he was delivering a package at 2:18 p.m. on the city's south side near the corner of 99th and State Street, authorities said. When residents inside opened up, the gunman began shooting, striking a 27-year-old man 3 times in the chest and a 23-year-old woman in the buttocks, Chicago police spokeswoman Jessica Rocco said. The man was listed in serious condition and the woman was stable at Advocate Christ Hospital in Oak Lawn, police said. Chicago police on Friday morning could not definitely say whether the gunman, who was not arrested, knew his victim or if he was fake or real United States Postal Service employee. Now again, I'm not sure what happened to the rest of my story there, right? Again, funny business happening right before your eyes. Again, you might think I make it all up, but you see it right before your eyes. So again, what we have there is a story that came out of Chicago. Individual was looking for somebody and came to say gonna dress up like a post office person, right? I don't know if I kind of agree with that, right? I think that's not kind of forthright. I think maybe individual might have been, because otherwise there had to be a post office person missing a truck, package, and body, right? So I may have suspecting that maybe this individual probably did allegedly, I got to say allegedly works for the post office. And again, you know, think about postmen, they go to everybody's crib every day, right? Now, depending, you got a house, maybe they skip your house, depending you ain't got no mail or something, they ain't delivering, okay. But other than that, they come across every day. And all somebody got to know is the route to where you live. And, you know what I'm saying? Think about that. That's either that's ingenuous or that's diabolical, right? That to come up unsuspectingly, if the doorbell rings and you see mailman, your guard is down. Unless you know your mailman and see sometimes, because sometimes you can have a personal mailman that does it, but then there's times he's all vacation and so forth, and then somebody comes to do it. And again, unbeknownst to you, you trusting the uniform, and you see it. Yo, got a package. Somebody sending me something. Check this out. And you open the door, mug busting, boom, 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 boom. Huh? He took 3 to the chest. Woman got hit in the buttocks, right? You know. And he ain't died. They say in the chest, but he ain't dead. So, you understand? But again, you know, the insecureness of an individual who is in a uniform that people trust. You're an easy mark that way. You know what I'm saying? And I see why this story probably wouldn't be out as much, because they don't want to give people the kind of ideal of that, because again, people be apprehensive about, about mailman, ringing doorbell, just leave the package, you know what I'm saying? It becomes like that, right? And you don't want to believe that. And again, they're very skeptical as to what they want to reveal, because they want to say they're not sure. What do you mean you ain't sure? What do you mean you ain't sure? Who route was that? Did they work that day? Have you I mean, there's some things you could actually, trace back to figure out whether it was the mailman or, what took place. What about the package that was left? Was that a real package, or was this some, was this part of the concoction to come up with the whole theatrics to it? Again, we're going to hear some more of this story go on, because again, they haven't caught the individual, right? And so the story came out about 2 days ago. And so as time goes on, again, over here we will, spend some more of that story as it develops. Now, let me look and see what I got out here, make everything go good. I got a couple people in the house. That's pretty good. All right. Any fam in the house? I got, we here. Okay, I just got one in the house. Okay. All right, so this one here. All right, so I got this here, right? All right, let's see. All right, so I got this here, right? So again, I say the word anti-Negroism, right? That's when people who have problems with black people, right? Jewish people have anti-Semitic, right? Right? We need a word. I'm just saying anti-Negroism. Something I just said. It don't mean they got to stick. Anti-Negroism, right? Which is basically somebody being racial or racialist to somebody of color. Primarily, mostly be somebody who has melanin black person, right? So I seen this story here, and again, you know how it is. It's a story that's always daily, always being heard, but a lot of times, again, people try to just say, they try to blow it off as just, it's just the normal way of life that we live here in these United States. But I beg to differ. That is not what it is. It's just the fact that it becomes a common theme daily, right? And, you know, it's incumbent on those who do reporting to bring these to light. Again, because I say Dracula needs to see himself, right? You know, you've seen them old Dracula movies, right? And Dracula, he'd be dancing with a woman and stuff, and he spin, get by the man, see the woman, she dancing by herself. We're like, what the hell is Dracula? Dracula can't be seen. His reflection does not appear on the mirror. Well, that's the kind of same thing with these racist things. It used to be a mysterious thing. It was, oh, your word, oh, you guys using a race car. Well, here's one again. You have this time a person of color, and then you have a person, again, we trust in the uniform, right? So here you go, check this out. She'll be right back. Check it out. On your screen it says, Ohio police officer who allegedly used racial slur while arresting black woman suspended. Then they changed the story to later on to this. Officer suspended for allegedly using racial slur. This was done in Newsweek, December the 27th, 2018. And this is how it reads. A white Cincinnati police officer was suspended for allegedly using a racial slur while arresting a black woman. Officer Dennis Barnett of the Cincinnati Police Department was suspended on Wednesday for allegedly using a racial slur while attempting to arrest a black woman following an incident at the Brownstone nightclub in Roselawn, Ohio on Saturday, the Cincinnati Enquirer reported. In an email obtained by the publication, Cincinnati Police Chief Elliot Isaac wrote to City Manager Patrick Duhaney that the use of the racial slur can be heard on Barnett's body camera. This type of behavior is unacceptable and will not be tolerated inside the department, Isaac said. Isaac wrote in the email obtained by the Cincinnati Enquirer that Bennett was responding to a call at the nightclub to help control traffic and deal with parking complaints on Saturday night. While he was responding, the officer attempted to arrest a black woman who then pushed him. Police cars made it down an empty street shortly after about 8 p.m. Curfew went into effect April 20th in Cincinnati, Ohio. A Cincinnati police officer was suspended after he allegedly said a racial slur while attempting to arrest a black woman. Mike Simmons, newsmaker, Getty Image. Subsequent to the incident, Officer Burnett is clearly heard on a nearby officer's body-worn camera using a racial slur, the nigger word. Isaac wrote according to the email obtained by the publication. Barnett has been suspended and placed on desk duty according to the Enquirer. In the email obtained by publication, he called the opposition unacceptable. Isaac's concern regarding this matter. He wrote in his email, according to the publication, it is unacceptable and not in line with the standard of conduct we expect from city employees. In response to the allegation in Cincinnati, NAACP said it was investigating the matter. CP offered the female while this need to be held, resigned or terminated. The group wrote on Facebook on Thursday, his true feelings slipped out and he doesn't need to continue policing in the ministry. We are proceeding. Barnett was awarded the department's award for exemplary conduct in 2014, according to police obtained by Cincinnati Enquirer. The honor is given to department members who show professionalism and lead an example for other officers. Earlier, Cincinnati police officer violated the department's use of force for using a taser on an 11-year-old girl who was accused of shooting a pistol. Officer Kevin Brown confronted the girl and two of her friends at the Kroger's grocery store for allegedly stealing more than $50 in clothing and food. He reported the girl when she tried to run away. KPRC previously reported. Brown, who was working theft prevention detail at the grocery store, made racial. All right. Well. See, again, this is the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Yeah, you know damn well I don't read like that. But someone has the device. You heard when they was hacking when it was coming in. You heard how the show kind of just got stopped, right? That's them hacking into the system. And when I start getting to certain aspects of the readings, you started speeding up and going skipping, right? Again, didn't want you to think it's technical difficulties on my end. No. Dracula got a problem with seeing himself. That's just all that is. Why, Dracula? What's wrong? I mean, as a person, the DOS of this land, I think we've been plastered and scrutinized, and everything you want to put under the dictionary word to categorize it, we have been it. Again, we gotta act like we're, again, being the smallest. Again, they try to make us the smallest, demographic people of the land, but we always the most highest populated when it comes to doing crime and racism and hatred and all the other good things, right? But again, Mr. Friendly, the officer, right? As again, it's a rough job. It's not an easy job. People go out here and do it every day, right? Again, they want to tell us there's the good ones and the bad ones, right? I hear you talking. And then the situation where you have an encounter with a sister and something transpired, right, to the not her liking. Maybe, he was a little too aggressive or what it might have been. And so, she ended up getting arrested. And then in the process, police officers out there saying things that was in his mind that came out of his mouth, right? So it ain't a thought crime yet, as I said, yet, right? It ain't a thought crime yet, but he said the words, and it wasn't so fact of him saying it, it was the fact that he got caught. Because again, I myself will say that the Creator has blessed upon the world of this called the United States to have video and recordings to be captured, so that now it's not that black people just sitting here saying things that would be considered to be the race card, or you guys always say that, but you get to see it. Now it's not what my mouth told you, it's what your eyes see and your ears hear, right? So, he got caught with his own equipment. So, well, again, anti-Negroism is an expensive word, just like anti-Semitism, right? They got a lot of their things in place so that it's a lot more extensive. But ours is a little bit direct, right? It can, depending who it is, it can have some immediate delay. It's kind of like, for a man, right? Sometimes you hold a baby, right? The baby got them little hard-ass shoes. That baby hit that damn nut. You don't feel it right then, but then, boy, it's time going that little delayed pain. Now, I don't know, as a woman, I don't understand where y'all get that in. I wouldn't know how to make that kind of analogy to that, right? But a man would know what I'm talking about. So that's kind of like anti-Negroism. It's like a delayedness. Yeah, you get it off and you cut the boy's hair and you threw a mug out of a hotel. Yeah, you got it off, but then, boy, it's like the lingering one. Huh? Just come back and still smell it. It ain't gone yet. And then you get caught with it. Well, guess what? This day and age ain't the time to be getting caught up like that, is it? But I know, again, because, how you have the, what they say, color for the protection, right? Collection for the protection. I think that's what he said, right? And so you could probably have more opportunities. But if it was on the side, maybe a little bit more, but we don't have that, right? So, okay, that's what happened with the officer here, right? He did what he did. Well, he'll pay the anti-Negro price. Yeah, to be continued as to full details. Moving on. Now, again, as we're talking about what I'm talking about here, well, let's see this here. This one I thought was a little interesting because I said, well, I seen Kanye. He decided he want to come up over there too. Then I seen this one. I was like, what's going on here? My knowledge about over there's some stuff going on over there. So if I start seeing these type of people trying to make moves over here, I have to kind of question what's really going on. Well, what are you talking about, Mr. Blows Your Mind? Check this out. Be right back. Check this out. Be right back. Hopefully they don't do all that skipping, right? I'm going to say that again. Tiger. This story was done December 28, 2018 from the CNN News, and this is how it reads. Tiger Woods set to build public golf course in Chicago. He played there as a promising youngster. Now Tiger Woods is set to design a public golf course that will benefit the whole of Chicago. The former world number one and his TGR design teams are lead architects on a proposal to redevelop the Jackson Park and South Shore golf courses in downtown Chicago. Woods, the 14-time major champion, learned the game on municipal courses of California and is keen to leave a legacy for future generations of golfers who are without means to join an exclusive club. The scheme, which will be privately funded, will involve a newly restored 18-hole golf course and a shorter family course on the urban banks of Lake Michigan with substantial views of the city skyline. We didn't have enough money in our family to be part of a country club, so it was huge for us to be able to play on a public golf course, was said in a film for the Chicago Park Golf Alliances. To build a public golf course in Chicago is as good as it gets. You can see the skyline. It feels right down the road. It's truly amazing. We have the opportunity to create something so special. Woods, who will be 43 on December 30th, has teamed up with former NBC golf commentator Mark Rolfing, who is head of the Chicago Parks Golf Alliance. The project is working in tandem with former U.S. President Barack Obama's proposed Obama Presidential Center, which is said to be sited in Jackson Park subject to federal approval. The golf development, which includes community programs such as caddy schemes for youngsters, was given the potential go-ahead as a meeting of Chicago Park District Board Commissioners in mid-December. Work could begin in 2019. Woods won his first tournament in 5 years when he clinched the Tour Championship in September at the end of a remarkable comeback season following 4 back surgeries. All right, so we have there Mr. Tiger Woods, Eldridge Woods, decided that he's going to do some investing in the city of Chicago and put himself a public golf course to bring some kind of, I guess, symbolism of his token of appreciation of his Cabocalasian ancestry. Right, Cabocalasian. He's not DOS. He don't claim that. He says Cabocalasian, right? And I said, wait a minute. My knowledge about Chicago is regentrification. They gutting out black folks up there, right? So, I seen Kanye trying to get himself up there. No, Obama's building that library that they did up there. They got, people got mad about that because, again, he promised to put it in one place, but now the place that he was going to put that library there, now they're going to bring Tiger to put it over on that area, and Tiger's going to take the golf course area, right? Right? But, again, on his face, it looks like you're trying to do something that might be commendable. But by the time that golf course get put up, boy, the city of Chicago, black population, if that's who you're doing it for, because again, if it's going to be the skyline and all that stuff, we know we're not building that for you. It's kind of like in certain areas in Chicago, they would start putting up Whole Foods and all that. Well, in areas like Inglewood, if you know about Chicago, you know Inglewood and stuff like that. And it was like, oh, boy, black people about to eat healthy. Well, be damn, boy. It's starting to actually, you ain't seeing too many black people over there no more. Why? Because they didn't put Whole Foods there for you. Huh? Ain't nobody trying to make you healthy, right? You always know that when you start seeing things, big box stores and stuff and that coming, and Tiger Woods, and they're going to put the Obama library and all that, you got to know that the numbers kind of like Harlem in New York. Harlem Heights now, right? Back to Harlem Heights. For those who didn't know, Harlem Heights was even before Harlem back in there. So that was telling you them putting their flag back and recolonizing and taking it once again, right? So that's what's happening here. Yeah, people are making their moves again. They looking, again. The other ones, everything of their skin as they can. Remember Earl in the hotel, and then the ones that was helping them, that was all in the skin as they can. But when it comes to us, everything of our skin and our can, right? So people will, propagate like, hey, look, I'm going to do this so they can benefit from it, but they ain't got no kind of ties to you whatsoever. Anytime they get a chance when they get a chance to be put in that position, in kind of collision, huh? I'm the president for everybody, huh? So we understand how it is. Okay, what it is, right? So we're going to see how they're going to manifest later. Tiger, did you really, are you doing this for that? Or do you already know the city plans again? Because, the money you have made and the people are probably you associate and align yourself with, I'm pretty sure people that put you up on game. I'm pretty sure you know people who are developers and work with city planners. So they'd have told you, well, had you really invest here, Tiger's going to be, up and coming. Because I remember when the Olympics was supposed to come to Chicago. Anybody remember that? When Chicago was supposed to get that Olympics, Oh, they just knew they was going to get it. Boy, all the low end of Chicago, all with the low end, down with the low end. They call it the low end, huh? From downtown all the way up to about 47th, 43rd Street, right? Boy, they was buying up all that land up over there. Boy, getting niggas all up out of there, right? Then they didn't get the bid. But guess what? They had long implications. That ain't the only thing they were seeing. They see all this other stuff with Obama going to be in presidency and going to build that library. And they covered up all that land up over there, right? Then they started rebuilding up and made it where it used to be low rent. Then got to the point that, again, income that most black people cannot afford to live there, right? So, again, Tiger, is that what you're doing? You already know the plan? Or you just, again, guys ain't, yeah, okay. You got your little win now and everything good, right? All right. We watching, Tiger. We watching. All right, let's see who's going up in the audience right quick. Let me see if I can still got 5 up in the house. Okay, that's pretty good. I got fresh as hell. And Lorenzo William in the house. What's good, sir? Long time no see. Glad to see you here. Probably I'm gonna get out of here before y'all get to shooting and all that other good stuff, right? Oh, what else I got up in my bag for y'all? Let me see what else I got in the bag. All right, what else I got in the bag? So I got this in the bag, right? All right. This one here, I'm going international, right? I seen this here, international story, right? And again, all around the world, it's just the same old song, right? When I say that, what I mean, wherever you go in the bubble, same old game, same old song, same old, right? SOS, same old, right? So I seen this story and I was like, damn, man, it's always the same old shit, ain't it? Well, check this out. Be right back. Check it out. South African beach and race row as security guards turn away black people. You know I'm going to say that again. South African beach and race row as security guards turn away black people. This story was done December the 29th, 2018 in the Telegraph, and this is how it reads. A picturesque South African beach has been embroiled in a bitter racism row after a local security firm allegedly turned away black bathers from the area, prompting protesters to ritually slaughter a sheep on its sand to ward off prejudice. Security guards working on Clifton Beach in Cape Town allegedly told black citizens to leave the site 2 days before Christmas in a bid to keep criminals away from droves of tourists who visit each year. In response, a group of protesters slaughtered a sheep on the beach in a ritual supposed to ward off racism, while others sang and burned incense. Beaches, along with many other public areas, were segregated under white minority apartheid rule and have since been a flashpoint of racial tension in South Africa. The mayor of Cape Town has denied that security firm PPA was only asking black residents to leave the beach and that it did not single out any race group. Meanwhile, Anwe Landry, the chief executive of PPA, said the company's guards did not close the beach and were only trying to protect local residents from criminal activity, which has caused mayhem in the area. However, Chumani Maxwell, a local activist, said the guards had deliberately told black people on the beach to leave. These private security guards are hired by the Clifton residents. They are actually briefed it to not only allow black people who appear to look like they are from the township or criminals onto the beach. He told the News 24 website, "The offering of the sheep is calling on our ancestors to respond to our traumas at the hands of white people," he added. Patricia De Lilly, the former mayor of Cape Town, also waded in to the role, insisting that PPA had no lawful basis for closing off the beach to residents. It is shocking to learn that a private security company has been permitted to police our magnificent Camp Bay and Clifton beaches, she told the Daily Telegraph. Public amenities have no closing times. We have long passed the days of curfew and restricted movement. This tramples on our hard-won constitutional rights, and anyone who was forced to leave the beach should be laid criminal charges with the police. It is the latest in a series of controversies over the issues of racism on South Africa beaches. In 2016, South American estate agent Penny Sparrow likened black beach goers to monkeys in a social media post, triggering widespread outrage. She was fined 150,000 rands. In September, South African tourist Adam Katzavelos ignited another storm of protests after he used a racial slur in a phone video message from Greece, boasting that the beach had no black people on it. All right, so we see in South Africa that, the natives, indigenous of the land decide they want to go to the beach. Kind of like Hotel Earl, right? Has these private security ones that somebody hired to keep the Negroes out of the water, right? And they looking like, maybe we can't go to the beach. They said, no, we don't want your kind in the water. Anybody seen that Dorothy Dandridge story? Matter of fact, what was that movie that Bernie Mac had that was in about when they were swimming? It was called Pride, right? Remember they got in the water, right? And because they got in the water, white people got out of the water. Oh, black people got diseases, right? Right? We don't want to get in the water because you're in the water, right? So that's what happens here, right? They don't want you in. Again, accordingly, this, again, look at the dynamic that's going on about South Africa, about, reappropriating the land back to the indigenous natives of the land, right? And, kicking them out, right, without reparation, right? Repatriation, I think it is, right? So, right, that's what they were doing, right? And here they still holding on to the vestiges of old adage, right? I mean, pretty much when you think about it, like let's take this country here, the United States. The waterfront property, primarily white folks always got to see the waterfront property, right? All up on the water. Where you go, you know what I'm saying? You may have some sprinkles, right? You always got to get a vanilla ice cream cone, put some sprinkles on there. Hey, see some sprinkles, some little chocolates on there, right? But primarily, it's mostly the vanilla going to be there, right? They all up on those shores and all that, and they believe that they own the water, right? Regardless of whether it's, your land. I don't think there's no such thing as your land. I think they summed it up in that old Kiddo song. This land is my land, this land is your land, right? But somehow they taking your land. You ain't got no land, right? You just a resident in there. You're getting rent to not own, right? That's how basically you own your home, but you own the ground. They think about that shit. That's some slick shit too, right? You own the house, but you own the ground that the house is on. So what good is that? that means so we can actually come with eminent domain because we decide we're going to build a road through here and take this money and be gone. So you don't really own nothing, right? In this system, you can't own anything. So that's what happened here, right? You might have been here, whatever. You might have access to it, but we are controlling it and we say you cannot. So I looked at the fact that they took a sheep, right? So Africans went back to their ancestors and said, this is how we have our cure for this white disease that they call racism. We kill a sheep. Well, goddamn, how many sheep would you have to kill? Because that shit one can't do it. One sheep can't do that. You know, I mean, it won't be a sheep left on the planet. If you think that's going to work, that ain't going to work, right? All other ways to combat that, but it ain't going to be that damn sheep. Damn sheep lost his life because why? Huh? Oh, some bullshit, right? Go ahead and put some barbecue sauce on that bad boy, right? Anyway, so again, same old song, no matter where you go. Anti-Negroism is worldwide, right? More fierce than others, but it's always there. It's always present. Huh? All right, so moving on. Now this one here, right? This one here. This one right here, y'all. All right, check this out. Check this one out. Because, okay, again, you know, we're in that season, right? I'm gonna set you up, right? We're in the season, right? You know, they've been talking about flu season, right? They've been talking about them doctors that just came back. They got Ebola. They just came back. I didn't do the story. I might do that. You know, I'll bring it up. But it's about them doctors that came back. They got that Ebola, right? But they said they're gonna monitor them. All right, what? Monitor them. All right, you gonna get them what you get other cat? The CDC when they went to Atlanta, him and that nurse, you gonna give him the same stuff you gave him, or are you gonna allow this to incubate and then stuff gonna manifest as time go on? Is that part of the plan? Because I mean, you know, you gotta be watching that, right? You know, again, go look at what they call the Georgia Guidestones, right? Talking about they got to call down about 500 million people. What are they talking about? I did some research. I heard they said 10 billion on the planet. They keep telling us 7. Somebody said 10. So, but Georgia Guidestone said 500 million. Boy, that's a lot of calling, huh? So, well, check this out. You know, a lot of people have their issues about taking vaccinations, right? Well, I seen this story and I said, oh shit, check this out. Check it out. Be right back.
According to UPI, the Food and Drug Administration has approved a French-made vaccine that is capable of immunizing children against 6 different diseases. The immunization that the regulatory agency has approved is called Vaxelis, created by pharmaceutical company Sanofi. The FDA says the drug immunizes against diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, poliomyelitis, hepatitis B, and invasive disease due to Haemophilus influenza type B in children between 6 months and 5 years of age. Sanofi has announced that the pediatric combination vaccine will be available in the United States in 2020.
How about 6 vaccines in one? FDA approves new vaccines from Sanofi, Merck. You know I'm going to say that again. How about 6 vaccines in one? FDA approves new vaccine from Sanofi, Merck. This story was done in Forbes, December the 28th, 2018, and this is how it reads. Picture here is Oliver Brandycourt, Chief Executive Officer of Sanofi, who along with Merck developed the Vaxelis vaccine, which just received FDA approval. Would you rather have one shot or multiple shots? Unless you are an acmophiliac, your answer would probably be no. Acmophilia is the obsessive interest in sharp or pointy objects, not sharp like a houndstooth jacket, but sharp like knives, swords, and needles. For everyone who does not have acmophilia, the United States Food and Drug Administration has just approved a combination: diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, hepatitis B, poliomyelitis, invasive Haemophilus influenza type B disease vaccine. Of course, this name wouldn't quite flow off the tongue, and the acronym DTPHP-HIB spells absolutely nothing with far too many consonants. Therefore, Sanofi and Merck, who developed the vaccine in a joint partnership, are calling this combination vaccine Vaxilis. Pictured here are Merck corporate headquarters in Kenilworth, New Jersey. Vaxilis is a hexavalent vaccine, which is a heck of a lot of vaccine, or valence. The prefix hexa means 6. So a hexapod is an insect with 6 legs. A hexagon is a shape with 6 sides. A hexadonut would be a donut with 6 of something. A vaccine valence is the number of different types of antigen the vaccine contains. An antigen is something that stimulates your immune system to react. Usually for a vaccine, it is either a part of the entire body of a virus or bacteria. The vaccines essentially say, hey, check this out, immune system. This is what you want to be ready to defend against. Therefore, a vaccine isn't a mysterious concoction, but a way of exposing you to a microorganism without you actually getting the disease. The valence of a vaccine then translates into the number of different types of microorganisms that the vaccine can protect you against. A monovalent vaccine has a single type of antigen and stimulates your immune system to ward off one type of microbe. A bivalent has 2 and protects against 2. A trivalent vaccine like the measles, mumps, rubella vaccine has 3. A quadrivalent has 4. A pentavalent vaccine has 5, like the diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, hepatitis B, and Haemophilus influenza type B conjugates vaccine. This is often referred to the DTP-HEPB-HIB vaccine, which is much easier to say and sounds a bit like a cheer. Therefore, the hexavalent Vaxilis is designed to offer protection against 6 diseases and significantly reduce the number of shots you need to get as a little kid, thus to be fully immunized against diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, hepatitis B, polio, and invasive Haemophilus influenza type B disease. You will only have to get 3 doses of Vaxilis between your turning 6 weeks and 5 years old. If you are already older than 5 and have been through all the traditional shots, sorry. If you are going to drift past the 6-week to 5-year-old range into old age before 2020, you are also out of luck. Sanofi and Merck won't be able to get their production lines in place to others the vaccine widely until earliest of 2020. That's not the case in European Union or EU, where Vaxilis was approved by regulators about 3 years ago to reach the market in the early 2016. Vaxilis wasn't even the first hexavalent vaccine to have been marketed in the EU, with Sanofi, Hexion, and GlaxoSmithKline's Infarix Hexa having already reached the market back then. This hexavalent vaccine is the latest of ongoing efforts to reduce the number of shots kids have to get. Besides being welcomed by those who are not acmophiliacs, reducing the number of required shots can help simplify somewhat the operations of a doctor's offices and also simplify supply chains by reducing the number of vaccines that need to be ordered, stored, and transported. Typically, a combination vaccine with more antigens doesn't mean that the doctor will have to use a giant syringe. A single Vaxilis injection should look like a typical single injection that is delivered into a muscle in the arm or thigh, just with a greater variety of antigens. All right. Well, I can say them doctor words, right? So, 6 shots in one Malacot cocktail, huh? That's what that sound like to me. Man, wait a minute. So I'm going to put some satin up, some Sprite, some Fanta, some Kaopectate. I'm going to mix all that up, right? And make it so you just get one. You know, did you hear how I broke it down to talk about a hexagon, a hexagon, and a hexadonut? Well, 6, 6, and 6, right? Ooh, did you hear that? Do I need to say that again? Remember in the article I just read, it talked about a hexagon, a hexapon, and a hexadonut. Well, that's 6, 6, and 6. Well, you know those people who get spooky on that, right? Some people, whoa, that's the devil and all that, right? Again, 6, it could be 6 neutrons, 6 protons, 6. It's man, right? Again, depending on where your mentality is and how you looking at stuff, right? But they talking about that and talking about vaccinations, and you know, a lot of people are very apprehensive about these vaccinations. Remember, a lot of people talking about there's a reason why a lot of these children today are having, you know, symptoms that are not Alzheimer's, but you know what I'm talking about. I can't think of the word right off the bat. Mouth dry right now. But, you know, so here is, you know, Sanofi and Merck. Now, my years of doing some research, that Merck, man. I remember when I first was getting on here, I did a video. Right? It's still in there, still in the library. I did the video. I talked about Pope John Paul. And do you know how Pope John Paul got to be a pope, or as a matter of fact, got into the Vatican? Well, he used to work for a company that used to sell what they end up saying that they put the stuff that they use in Auschwitz. And that company was Merck. Wow. You heard of, well, you know, again, see what I do over here is I'll bring the information and I will just give you kind of a life thing, but it's for you to go really do what you need to look if it's very of interest to you. Right? I just gave you that a little bit, but it's very interesting if you do some research on that Merck. So anybody talking about doing a one-stop shop, they're trying to get all the money, or they're trying to do all in one. Right? So I'm like, okay, man. 6. So again, for those people, again, the word was acromophilia. Mophiliac. That's somebody who, again, likes to get shot up. They don't got a problem with it. But you know that the average person don't like getting shot, especially kids, right? And you know, you think about the requirements that it takes a kid, again, from say about 5 months all the way up to about 5, 6, 7 years. Still, even when they go to school, they got to still get them, right? Again, unless you get yourself, you use religion to get out of it, right? But, you know, in certain ways you could probably do that. But, you know, there's a lot of shots being taken. So I said, well, instead of doing that, we're just going to all combine it. But again, have you done enough to know what those, you know what I'm saying? So again, as I was talking about, again, there's 7 to 10 billion people on the planet. Some people going to go up to 7. But again, I just read something recently. We're talking about there's 10 billion. And so, with that being said, you know, things got to happen rapidly. They got to accelerate, right? And so I'm just bringing this to the attention for those who didn't know. Again, pay attention, right? It's to blow your minds on the wall. And I'm just saying, hey, you can take it or leave it alone. You can say, hey, you can do what you want. I'm just, again, every time I come on, I am presenting why you think I am the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Everybody got their lane. They do what they do. But, you know, some people may think this is a lot of nonsense. But let me tell you something. Stuff you see here, then go on the mother shows, and then later on they start picking up on it. But y'all been up on it day one, because again, you know, again, this ain't being facetious like no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying I present the most latest thing that's out there because I'm searching for it. And when I see it, I bring it. Now, a lot of times it's racial, right? And then there's things like this, right? Again, it is what it is, y'all. Like I said, they're talking about Food and Drug Administration had approved this, right? The diphtheria, tetanus, pertussis, hepatitis B, polymyelitis, invasive hemophilus influenza type B disease vaccine, they said, right? Right? They call it a DTPHPHIB spells, right? Absolutely nothing, but it's called Vaxilis. They're going to be here. That word Vaxilis, right? Again, remember I told you, talking about that hexapod, hexagon, and a hexadonut. That's 666. Keep that in mind. They said that all in the article. And again, I do the reading for you. Most people will not, because again, I can't pronounce the words. Okay, I get it. Don't get it. But most people ain't gonna read the articles. They don't see the reason to know. You don't wait till it's all a big problem. Okay. Don't say you can't say it over here. I'm gonna move on. So I don't get. So I'm not trying to be the. You know, some channels where they get to the library and they want to be like they're gonna. Hey. You know. You teach a baby how to walk. You hold his hand. You teach him his step, and then after a while he has to learn how to take his own. Right. That's what this is about. Right? I mean, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, and I ain't the dullest knife in the drawer. But the point is, everybody got their lane, and some things is made for other people. Again, some people may not understand that. You can't say it wasn't told to you. That's the whole thing. If you come over here, you ain't going to be able to say you didn't know, because if I know, I'll tell you. Right? Anyway, moving on. Keep that in mind. Well, again, I got to play this here, right? I'm going to play this because check this out, right? I'm going to play this is because I don't get it. I have still never understood this and why we do this, right? And it seems like they always targeted us. And again, in the video clip, you're going to hear an elder say some things. And you're going to be like, again, it sounds innocent. It sounds like a great thing. And again, I kind of give you a different perspective. Just a little bit, right? Just to give you something to look at, some fat to chew on, as they say, right? So check this out. I'll be right back. Check this out.
Now, the department already is calling on a second day of success. This is what they're calling it. WMER2 News' Skylar Henry spoke to a few people exchanging their guns for cash, hoping to do their part in lowering the violence in the city.
Yeah, Jamie, the likelihood of those bad guys with guns turning them in is a relatively small, police say. It's more about reducing access to those weapons and getting them destroyed before they ever make it onto the streets. Throughout the afternoon on the corner of McElder and Montford, the sidewalks on this East Baltimore block looked more like an arms show. People with guns, both small and sophisticated, filing in.
I've been waiting for a buyback for about a year. And as soon as the buyback is like, you gone.
V. Lee Brady's revolver was sitting around his house.
I had an old revolver that was left in the house. So it didn't work out but so well, but it was good to get it out of the house, it wasn't really going to provide that much protection.
But for the police department, having that revolver and the hundreds of other guns in their possession is protecting more people in the city.
Some of them are handguns, some of them are rifles, and they're turning those weapons, those items, into police.
On Monday, 580 guns were turned in exchange for cash.
I was like, if they're going to pay me for my old junk, I'll take it.
580 guns that could have fallen into the wrong hands, police say.
contributing to violence in the city as Baltimore nears 300 homicides for the 4th consecutive year.
We often hear stories from individuals who may have had their house broken into. Maybe they had 1, 2, or even 3 guns that were inside of the house. And if those guns are taken in a burglary, they end up on the streets.
An outcome BPD wants to prevent, pulling the trigger on what's now an epidemic in the city.
The less guns, the better. You know, the more guns, the more people are likely to shoot it.
So as of 4 this afternoon, police have recovered more than 300 guns from today's buyback. If you're interested in exchanging your gun for cash, you still have a little bit of time, about 2 hours. It's going on still at the McKelderry Park Community Center till about 8 o'clock. Guys.
Police departments hoping a gun buyback program could help. People will be able to turn in guns and get cash in exchange. WMAR2 News' Chanel Pearman is live this morning at police headquarters. Chanel, city leaders hope this might be part of what can cut back on some of this violence.
Yes, Christian, this buyback program comes as Baltimore gets dangerously close to reaching 300 homicides this year. So city leaders are hoping this program will help them try and get guns off the streets. So today is the 2nd day of the city's buyback program, and people will be able to trade in their guns and get cash. They could get anywhere from $25 to $500. That all depends on the type of gun you bring in. So police say they will be accepting any firearms or high-cap magazine with over 10 rounds. They do ask that all weapons be unloaded in a safe container and transported with the receiver open. The last time the city had this program was back in 2012, 6 years ago. This year, the city planned on collecting guns on 3 different days this week in different parts of the city, with Monday being day 1. And so far, they were able to collect more than 500 guns. Well, today's event is from noon until 8 tonight at the McElderry Park Community Center on Montford Avenue. And if you won't be able to make it out today, there will be another opportunity, the last opportunity this week, this Friday. For more information, you can visit our website at WMAR2news.com. Live at police headquarters, Chanel Pearman, WMAR2 News.
Baltimore gun buyback event yields a rocket launcher. You know I'm going to say that again. Baltimore gun buyback event yields a rocket launcher. This story was done in the Fox News 5 of Baltimore. And this is what it reads. Baltimore AP. Baltimore police say a rocket launcher was among more than 1,000 firearms turned in during recent gun buyback event. The rocket launcher was traded for $500, and police have reached out to the military and the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosive to trace its origin. Police spokesman Detective Jeremy Silbert says to the unloaded rocket launcher was turned in Monday, December the 17th. News outlets report Interim Commissioner Gary Tuggle said Friday that the city has spent $163,000 so far on the first 2 events last week, which netted 509 handguns, 273 rifles, and 245 shotguns. The 3rd event was last Friday. Some have questioned the program's efficiency, but Tuggle saying destroying guns that could be used in crimes is the city's top priority. All right, you know, trying to get that mic off, right? So, Baltimore, again, I read the story about a couple of days ago about they was hitting the 300 mark about crime, right? Again, compared to Chicago, right? Not saying that the numbers in itself are insignificant, that the fact 300 people getting murdered, again, we don't know all the ins and outs, but again, that is a high number, and I guess the bigger portion of that number is going to be black people or DOS, right? Now, again, the program that they're trying to offer is trying to get some guns off the street, right? Now, think about this. When they do a gun turn-in, are criminals turning their guns in? I'm going to say that again. When they do gun turn-ins, is it criminals who turn in guns in, or are these primarily law-abiding citizens who have guns, right, as the elder was sitting there saying that he had a gun, that he was actually waiting on them to have it so he could bring it in, right? To get the $25 to $500 range, right, that they give you for a gun. And he said something too that I was like, He said, well, this gun I got, you know, it really can't do the real protection that you right need. I've never seen gun turn-ins in white neighborhoods. Do I say that again? I ain't never seen in my years of life seen gun turn-ins. I know they gave you the picture in the video, the white guy carrying the gun. How you know they wasn't police, right? Or how we don't know who that was, right? But we know it's in Baltimore, right? And the stigmatization that they're talking about, the high crime and violence is high proportion towards black people. So again, these are the ones who try to get, because again, saying if you keep these type of guns, they could get in the hands of criminals. Now again, criminals ain't turning their guns in. You're getting the population of these law-abiding people turning their guns in. What happened to your constitutional right? And again, the climate that we in and the things that's going on, disarming yourself. Why are you disarming yourself like that? Yes, you may have a gun that you may think that is inoperable or something you don't want to do. Well, okay. But again, I see the elder and I like, what you reading, elder? What you seeing, elder? Right? Again, from the municipal aspect, they said, well, they're trying to get the guns off so that the criminals don't get them, which means that these guns we're getting are not in criminals' hands, they're in the civilians' hands. We're going to remove from your hand with the cash, because again, with poor people, they ain't got a gun. But if you're going to offer some cash, we're going to exchange this trade in for this cash. Because did you hear the number? $163,000 they was able to give for guns. They got money for war, but can't feed the poor. I'm going to say that again. They got money for war, but can't feed the poor. 507 handgun, 273 rifle, 245. And somebody had a rocket launcher. That they finna trade back, like, how the fuck them get that goddamn rocket launcher? Huh? We got shit like that down there? You'd be surprised what probably black people got. Huh? You'd be surprised what black people got. You understand? So I'm just saying, always these gun turn-in buybacks is in black communities. White people ain't giving up their guns. Black people turn in. Matter of fact, I remember when I did that video about, remember those who might have seen when Alex Jones got on that story with Pierce Morgan, and they got into that whole thing about, you know, guns and gun control and all that, and he talked in code. Matter of fact, the video I did, I decoded what Alex Jones said. I decoded it, what he even talked about. I decoded it, where he talked about them lemons. If them lemons want to turn in their guns, he said, them lemons, right? If they want to turn their guns in, meaning us. We always, again, I understand crime and violence, but that's street. That's not citizenry, that's street. Unarming the citizen, but then the criminal still got the gun, then who they relying on? 911? Come on, man. Come on. Right? Really? I'm just saying, black folks, think about that, man. Yes, there's a need of, again, you know, granny, you know, got bazooka and shit. You know, okay. But, you know, you got to have peripheral vision. You got to be able to see. I don't know. You gave 1,000 guns away. Yes, the money was needed. Yes, you needed money. I get that. I'm just saying. Moving on. I'm just saying. All right, what else I got up in here? I got a couple more because I'm at the 2-hour mark. Right? I'm at the 2-hour mark. See who I got up in the house. I got a couple extra more people in the house. All right, I see everybody here. Hit that like button, dislike. Fella Cootie 1360's in the house. What's good, sir? Lorenzo Williams still in the house. All right. A couple more people in the house hiding in there. We'd like to see that. Hit that like button, dislike, comment, saying shit, whatever it is you got to do. Let me hold something. Let me hold something. Right? Let me hold something. All right, so I got this other couple stories for you. Well, let's see this one here. Right? Let's see what I got for you. Right? What else I got for you here? You know, because I be seeing all this stuff, man. I be like, man, what's going on, really, right? Well, how about this one? You know, like when you go into a restaurant, right? You ever go into a restaurant and not know what the hell the prices is, right? Right? You don't go into a restaurant and purchase things and not know the price until after you're paying for it, right? Then you be like, oh, damn, you may not know you had enough for it, right? Or maybe, right? You like to be a consumer that is aware, right? You want to be known, right? Well, as of about maybe another hour from now, right? About an hour from now, this will be coming along in effect. Check this one out. Hospitals will have to post prices online starting January 1st. You know I'm going to have to say that again. Hospitals will have to post prices online starting January 1st. This story was done in Fox 5, Washington, D.C. This is how it reads. Washington AP Fox 13. A new rule going into effect January 1st, 2019 will require hospitals to post a list of their standard prices online and make electronic medical records more readily available to patients. The new rule, called the Inpatient Prospective Payment System Rule, is part of a Medicare program aimed at pricing transparency in the healthcare system. In March, the head of the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, Seema Verma, said the new requirements for online prices reflects the Trump administration's ongoing efforts to encourage patients to become better educated decision makers in their own care. We are just beginning on price transparency, said Verma. We know that hospitals have this information and we're asking them to post what they have online. Hospitals are already required to disclose price publicly, but this change will put that information online in a machine-readable format that can be easily processed by computers. It may still prove to be confusing to consumers since standard rates are like list prices and don't reflect what insurers and government programs pay. Patients concerned about their potential out-of-pocket costs from a hospitalization will still be advised to consult with their insurance company. Most insurance plans have an annual limit on how much patients must pay in copays and deductibles, although traditional Medicare does not. In the case of online records, many healthcare providers already make computerized records available to patients, but starting in 2021, Medicare would base part of a hospital payment on how good a job they do at this task. All right, so in about an hour from now, I don't get the surprise bill anymore. You know how you go to the hospital, go in there, get you a Band-Aid and get you a lollipop and got about $600 on the bill, right? You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know the lollipop cost that damn much. And I had a drink of water, right? You know, a little IV, put some sugar water in there. Like, damn, that much? I wish I'd seen the menu. I would have said, well, let me get that one. Let me order that one. See? They always kind of hid that, right? Think about that. You go to the hospital, people didn't know until they got the bill later on. Then they find out, God damn, you start itemizing the bill, looking at it like, God damn, man, they gave me about 10 pills and it cost that much, right? Then a bandage, you know what I'm saying, air cast. You'd be like, huh? They processing people, they give it to you all, right? So now they try to be transparent, right? We want you to be able to see, right? So you could be an informed consumer, right? They're not really trying to but still there's still some stipulation to it, because again, you're gonna see the front price. It's kind of like going to a car dealer, right? You see the sticker price, right? But then you're gonna go into negotiation and haggling, right? Because is it really that price? Have you tabulated what the damn salesman trying to get, right? You know the whole thing, and what does the car really cost, right? So again, you as the insurer, again, there's a different billing for that. You know, there's certain things, maybe out of pocket and co-payment. Yeah, you might know a little bit of some of the stuff, but you ain't gonna get all of it. They ain't gonna be that transparent, right? We heard that. We hear that all the time from politicians about transparency, right? We hear that. Right? We heard that change we can believe in. Remember all that? Yeah, we changed. Same old to me. Don't seem like nothing changed. The only thing that changed that time was the appearance. That was the only thing that changed. It was about the same old game as it always have been, right? And so the same thing here. You know how it's going to be. They're going to bring this out again. Not everybody going to know about it, but those who came over here, you seen it, you're going to know, hey, you should go get to see the bill, go online. Let me see what this is. We're getting to see, we can negotiate. Well, give me some generics for that there. And, you know what I'm saying? Be an informed consumer, right? It's about, again, everybody trying to manage what little bit of money they got. You know, all bills is tight and economic straight, and just trying to make it, right? Especially being DOS. Again, we're talking about Medicaid and all that stuff. Most people ain't even got no kind of employment, so what kind of Medicaid and stuff? Where they gonna get that from, right? So if you go into you should have to go to the hospital, you definitely want to see what's on the menu, because you know your money's short anyway, right? That whole process is gonna be the ugliest time go on. But anyway, moving on, y'all. Again, right? As we talk about the healthcare system, this one here is going to the education. And you could kind of wonder why, because again, me as being a DOS of this nation, I came out of the same school, so you would not think that. Oh, Mr. Bubba, you kind of breathe kind of good. I got lucky. Maybe I got lucky, right? Anyway, but the school system, again, that public school system, right? You know what I'm saying? That's not an easy job, right? There's a lot of dysfunction on this going on in there, and then you're not getting paid, and then you got the, what they say, don't get high on your own supply, don't teach without buying supplies, right? That's how teachers got to be. Don't teach in the class if you don't buy supplies, right? Because we short, right? You know how the money is allocated out of the hood, that white people own the hood. Black people live in the hood, but the hood is owned by white folks. Do I need to say that again? Black people live in the hood, but the buildings and the stuff that they rent, that they don't own, is owned by white folks. But they pull their resources and take it and allocate it into the taxes of their schools, and that's why they have, more, modernized, up-to-date schools. And then the public school system has just got the change, whatever change is left over. You know how it is, send a kid to the store and say, Daddy, can I have the change? Go get change, right? So let me show you this. Let this story right here. Check this out. Public education employees leaving jobs at record rate. You know I'm going to say that again. Public education employees leaving jobs at record rate. This story was done in Newsweek, December the 28th, 2018, and this is how it reads. Public education employees are leaving their jobs faster than ever recorded, according to government data reviewed by the Wall Street Journal. Teachers, janitors, and other educational professionals departed their jobs at an average rate of 83 per 10,000 a month in the first 10 months of 2018. This figure denotes the fastest resignation rate since the Department of Labor began its measurement in 2001. The departure, driven in large part by low pay rates and poor working conditions, include educators and employees who have spent years in the field. I had to quit for my sanity, 43-year-old Sarah Jobe, who left her position teaching science in Oklahoma after 12 years, told the Wall Street Journal. Spencer Platt, Getty Image. The financial situation of Jobe, who was getting paid so little she needed financial assistance from her parents, is not unusual for the profession. Teachers in 6 states held protests this year. The demonstration began February in West Virginia, where education professionals had held a 9-day walkout. The strike ended after Governor Jim Justice approved legislation that raised wages 5% for teachers. In April, Oklahoma educators followed suit. The South Central state protests ended with teachers and support staff getting raises. Although the teachers did not achieve their objective of ending the capital gain tax exemptions received by wealthy individuals, they praised the strike outcome and urged people to vote. We got here, the electing the wrong people to office. President of the Oklahoma Education Association, Alicia Priest, said according to the New York Times. We have the opportunity to make our voices heard at the ballot box. Arizona teachers staged a walkout that ended in May with Governor Doug Ducey giving teachers 20% pay raises and more money to pay for classroom materials, the Times reported. Other teacher actions took place in Kentucky, North Carolina, and Colorado, according to United States News and World Report. Teacher salaries vary greatly across states. Time reported in May, while public school teachers in New York, the state with the highest average pay, makes a salary of more than $79,150 annually. Those in South Dakota earn the least, getting an average salary of $42,025. A 2017 report from the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development found that teachers in the United States earn far less than people with similar education levels who are working other jobs, the Washington Post reported. American teachers make an average between 55 and 59% of the salaries of other professionals with comparable schooling levels. All right, so talk about teachers quitting in the public school systems, getting out of there, right? It's not what they envisioned when they were little, talking about, I want to be a teacher when I grow up, right? It's an honorable profession to be a teacher. It's honorable. But for some odd reason, school systems and teachings seem to be like kind of working at McDonald's, right? When you come to somebody who needs certain kinds of criteria and accolades and degrees to be a teacher, right? But I guess when it comes to the public school system, it's really the pot lickers of those, right? That's who public systems seem to get, is the pot licker. Because really the difference is a city versus a suburb. Now, they said statewide, but really it's city and suburb, right? Now, they talk about New York said that they get about 179,000. But again, we know demographically and economically, if you're talking about that kind of money, we pretty much know what school system that is, right? We know that ain't no PS school system, right? Right? So the dire straight of a teacher again has to pay for their own supplies that they're given for and then they dealing with again, some of the dysfunctionalness that these children are having, the stress level of that. I mean, you could just go on YouTube and click on and see what, we done seen earlier this year or later in this year where a music teacher got into it with a student, right, that he, gave him a two-piece in the mouth, right, because he was being disorderly. Again, not enough home training, so stuff like that, right? So, it's a stressful job. Dealing with the dysfunctionalness of somebody who not being raised. Again, there's a difference between being born and raised, right? There's a difference, right? Somebody who being born and raised. Born, somebody had you and you here, somebody raised you, took the time to teach you, right? Gave you some, instructions and guidance and understanding and gave you a little path and, tapped you on the butt, come on, keep doing that, and encourage you and all that other stuff. So when you're in an environment where people who are just birthed, and then in that birth, there's a whole lot of different kinds of elements due to the simple fact of Again, historically being DOS, Hiroshima, Nagasaki, the crack that fell in, and all kind of other elements. And then you usher them to come into school for 7-8 hours a day. And the confinement conditions, they got, again, they're talking about those lights and then emitting the rays, and they in lead-based buildings, and the water got lead, and all that shit, and the badass lunch, you know what I'm saying, smell like somebody pissed in the bag, all that shit, right? And then you got to teach that, right? So I guess you would get out of that, because it's not, again, a teacher, grown-ass teacher, let's live at home with mom and daddy because it ain't making enough money. Well, I guess you would date the student, right? I ain't trying to be funny, y'all. That ain't even funny. Scratch that. That one ain't funny, right? You can see why that be happening, right? Because you've been lowered down to the, you know what I'm saying? They done broke you down. All you in there is just the big adult, and then again, this is who you're around 5 days a week. You can't go out. You ain't got no money, right? You spending all school supply and all this. And so you see the dynamic of how that happens, right? So, you know, the teachers was like, well, maybe we got to get the community more about voting, right? Because politicians could actually do legislation that could actually, you know, cure some of that. But again, I already told you before I even put the video, before I put the article up, which is, again, school-based funding is coming from the tax allocated, and so if you're coming from an environment where the people that are attending your school don't own, the people who do own ain't putting no money into their school, right? Just in real estate lets you know that if you're in a blighted area, there's no need for me to really put upkeep in that because there's no investment in increasing value. So that's why I guess a lot of them become slumlords, because they don't have to, because it's like ain't no value going to be in this. And again, eventually they'll do a little bit because, again, they get them housing vouchers and shit like that. So teachers got it bad in the public school system, right? They got it real bad. So, yes, you would be leaving. But then who is that going to hurt? Now you ain't got nobody teaching. So, you know, a lot of people talking about they want to homeschool and all that stuff, but everybody not qualified to do that. So, boy, they really are doing a watering down of our people. And you have some people who are mad when they hear certain people that come from these elements, and then because maybe you might be, you know, again, I say life is like poker, right? Like a poker. Like you dealing cards, and the cards that you got is the hand you got to play. Sometimes some people get a good hand, right? And if you got a good hand, then yeah, you can look and be like, oh, you know, but some people got hands that, you know, not so good. Ask the dealer, can I get 2 more cards? Can I get another card? And depending on the cards you get, depending, of course, the people that come across you, right? Whether you can enhance your life or you can come across somebody who can make your life worse, right? And so sometimes some people who have better hands and get around people who have not so good hands, they kind of critique them and look down on them and say, why can't you be and function like I do? Well, they got a badass hand. Huh? They got a bad hand. And so you don't blame them. You know, again, they say you don't choose your parents. You just came here, right? Sometimes, most of the time, a lot of times, it ain't even like somebody sat down and thought about we're going to have a family. You know, people got together like tonight. How many babies going to be made tonight based on just what a simple problem? It was jovial celebration and people got drunk and then wake up the next morning looking at each other like, oh, what? So again, right, schools, right, teachers, getting the hell up out of there. It's not worth it. Well, check this one out. I set you up. I set you up for this one. So this one here, right? So here's the difference. Like this particular teacher here is like the bridge. She's on the dichotomy. She's on the other side of this same situation, but she is a black person. Now remember I said city, suburb, right? Remember we talked about the teacher that's making $179,000, where that was located at, right? But check this story out. Check this out. Be right back.
To translate slave talk and told food was for whites only.
in New York school lawsuit. You know I'm going to say that again. Black teacher asked to translate slave talk and told food was for whites only in New York school lawsuit. This was done December 31st, 2018 in Newsweek. And this is how it reads. A black teacher says she faced years of racial discrimination from her colleagues and students. A black high school teacher is suing the Commack School District in New York State seeking unspecified damages after claiming that she for years, FAYEARS, of racial discrimination and harassment from some of her colleagues and students, said CED. In a lawsuit filed in Manhattan federal court, Andrea Bryan, who is of Caribbean descent, alleges that the school district fostered an atmosphere of racial harassment and intimidation, the New York Post reported. Bryan also alleges that the district, which she says has not had a single other black teacher in the past 17 years, continuously dismissed her grievances when she tried to make them aware of the situation. The English teacher has highlighted a number of incidents where she was subjected to racially derogatory comments. For example, she says she once asked a senior white colleague whether food in the English teacher's staff lounge was for sharing, to which he responded it was for whites only, according to court documents. The same teacher also asked Bryan in 2015, Andrea, can you translate slave talk for me? Referring to a black character in Arthur Miller's play, The Crucible, where students were learning about an English department. Bryan complained about the teacher's comment, which she said made her feel humiliated, degraded, and embarrassed, and he was subsequently demoted. However, she says that afterwards she was ostracized by her colleagues in the department, NBC News reported. Bryan also noted that she was not afforded the privileges of having her own regular classroom as a senior teacher, despite the fact that many junior white teachers were given one. She described how she was completely ignored by her colleagues after being in a serious car accident in 2017. And in another racially charged incident, she alleged in the court documents that she was given only a bottle of hand sanitizer as a Secret Santa present, for which the spending limit was $50 because her coworkers thought she was dirty. Bryan also alleges that she faced racist abuse from students. For example, she described an incident which took place in the school cafeteria in 2016 when a student shouted, "Do you remember Aunt Jemima?" at her, after which she heard another taunting her by saying, "Do you have any maple syrup?" Aunt Jemima is a pancake mix and syrup brand featuring a black character on its product, which some consider offensive due to its promotion of racial stereotypes. All right. See, the public school teacher, and then here's another teacher in New York State, right? Been teaching the school for over 17 years and has only been one black teacher in the 17-year tenure she's been at this school, right? Right. So, there's a lot to be taken out of this story here, right? There's a lot to be said, right? So, again, the connotative language white people like to do. You know, they do the connotative language, right? Connotation means, kind of double speaking, double talking, right? Or talking under their breath, saying this or meaning this and meaning something else, right? All right, so here it was, English class is teaching something about a particular play. One of the teachers asked her, can you translate slave talk for me? Kind of like Five Heartbeats. Why don't you sing for me? Huh? That kind of shit, right? Right? Now, again, connotatively, you would think that he was talking about the play, but he was, again, the old bull, the connotative ass jokes, right? That a lot of white folks do, right? When they, again, because you've seen it in the cafeteria, right? We're talking about Aunt Your Mama, and the other will say, "Oh, you got some syrup?" Right? Okay, right? Then here it is again. This woman here, she's black, but I wouldn't call her Black American. I would call her, she's in the African family because she is a descendant of the Caribbean islands, right? And again, white folks know, right? White folks be knowing if you Black American or when you kind of foreign black. Because they know with foreign black, there's some shit they be doing. Again, she was there for 17 years. She been getting that shit daily, right? She was getting it daily. Okay, go to the cafeteria. They had something about some kind of maybe there was some kind of donut or coffee. Well, it might have been. She asked about because she is this what we're supposed to eat and get all that stuff? He said, yeah, for whites only. Huh? See, sometimes again, it's kind of like like a bunch of mugs jumping one mug. They tough, right? It's like 5, 10 mugs, right? They tough. When they have the odds and more in their favor, right? They big bad bully. But you don't never see that situation when it be just them and it be more of you. They don't pull that shit, right? They kind of, oh no, we don't do that, right? But the odds on the paper, because again, she's the only black person in the whole school, primarily. We know she's the only black teacher, right? So they do this stuff because again, people who come from other nations that come here, right? They're trying to fit in. They're trying to be a part of the so-called American dream, right? Trying to obtain that and trying not to rock the boat and trying to be as American as more of American, right? And the people, they recognize that and they sense that and then they pull it. And they know, well, like that one story I did where the woman that was on the plane and the white man sat there and he gave it to her, right? And she was, I don't know what I've done, and she had an accent. Yeah, I don't know what I've done this, she about to cry. Well, if that had been a black American, it would have been a different story. It might have read you your rights. See? Might read you your rights. As a matter of fact, there was another story later on where a sister that was on the airplane was telling Mug doing the same shit. So again, there is a difference between foreign black and the American black when they pull that, right? You wouldn't have said that to no black American talking about some, can you translate some slave talk for me, right? So again, she goes to the administrator and she says, hey, this motherfucker is saying this bullshit. So what they did, according to the story, they said they demoted him. And because he got demoted, all of them, again, like we said earlier, when Earl in the hotel, everything in my skin is my kin, they lied with him. Now, again, we always say everybody not racist, right? Oh, you can't say everybody's racist. But 2 times today in this story this show I've done today, we see where certain people will align with each other and they know motherfucker wrong. Do I need to say that again? Motherfucker will align their ass up with motherfucker when they know his ass is wrong to act as if, like, right? We in a line. You wrong for telling on him. No, she was in all her right. And whatever's going to come out of the lawsuit. Again, maybe this was their way of getting you out. They only had one in 17 years, right? So basically, they was kind of saying you was the token. You was the affirmative action hire. You know what I'm saying? The EEOC hire, right? So even in this damn story that they did it. I said it when I read it so that you could hear. When they said for years, they didn't put FORYEARS. They put for years. Being funny and shit. For years. I caught that shit. Then you put said CED. Always connotative. You got to always being connotative and the little slick ass shit when they pulling it, right? See? Then the last and least, one more part. Well, now here it is again. You know how jobs be having your little Christmas grab bag. You know, pull somebody's car. She got an anonymous. No one again. The gift she's getting, and there's supposed to be a $50 limit, right? Bought her a bottle of sanitizer and said she was dirty. Y'all feel good about yourself. Made that woman probably couldn't sleep at night, you know what I'm saying? Again, not being part of DOS, you done been through enough, you know what I'm saying? We've been long, you know, we understand that. Other people come here, they don't quite know it. Again, some of them been here long enough, they done forgot, they don't know anymore. So, you know, but yeah, that lady all lost line. And then she in the cafeteria, not with just the staff members. Now here's the goddamn students doing the same bullshit. Ain't your mama? Oh, you got a pancake with themselves? Huh? But they want us to think that this game of racism is long and gone. That's just them old mugs dying out. The new generation ain't like that. Who said that? Who y'all playing with? Who y'all fooling with? Moving on. Right? So that was that story of that sister there. Again, we'll see how anti-niggerism pays out later on. Moving on. Because I'm going to get out of here, but it's pretty much coming to that. We get that. Okay, so here, I'm going to play this because I think this is kind of crazy too, right? This is some crazy shit here too. First, I'm going to give you this. Right, I'm going to give you this. Right? Let me give you this first. We'll be right back. Let's see. Play this right quick. I'm being a little slow now. Come on, we're at the end. Getting to the end now. We're at the 2:30 mark. Hello? Let me check in the audience right quick. Let me see who all in here. Oh, I got 8 in the house. All right. Good to see I got a couple people up in the house. Okay, let me hold the light. I got David Hakeem. South African Beach. What happened to South African Beach on the beach? Oh, you missed that part of the show, sir. You're going to have to hit that rewind button to give me a click or a like. Yeah, that South African Beach, they told they didn't want no Negroes over there. That's what happened. I got Leonard DeYuta in the house. Was good, sir. Peace to you as well. Digitus King in the house. Was good, fam. All right. And everybody else in there. Hit that like or dislike button if you don't mind for me. You know, I'm the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. And let me give you this right here and come right back. I'm lining this up. I got something for you on this one. Because this shit don't make no sense. But check this out, and I'm coming right back.
It's been a big year for Detroit's Most Wanted. Our partnership with the U.S. Marshals resulting in the capture of some of Metro Detroit's most dangerous criminals. But there are still 3 men who top that list, and tonight they're Detroit's Most Wanted heading into the new year.
Over the past year in 2018, the partnership with the Detroit Fugitive Apprehension Team and WXYZ have resulted in dozens of arrests, dozens of violent fugitives who we couldn't find alone. We needed help.
Week after week, this partnership between the U.S. Marshals, WXYZ, and you, resulting in locating and arresting the most dangerous people in our community.
Detroit's Most Wanted is working. People are noticing. People want to clean up the community.
Still, 3 men remain at large, and once again, we're teaming up with the Marshals and asking for your help.
Linnell Kirby, this guy is a killer.
He's topping the Most Wanted list heading into 2019 after killing this young woman and shooting her niece.
We need the viewers to really buckle down and help us out.
Linnell Kirby goes by Nell. He's 5'8", 190 pounds.
Next, we have Frederick Gordon. This guy's been at the top of our list for years. We have not been able to find him. We know he's frequent in the Detroit area. This guy's wanted for a homicide from years ago. We need him behind bars in 2019.
Gordon is 41 years old. He's 5'9", 140 pounds, and believed to be armed and dangerous on the east side of Detroit. Next, a fugitive who's made it clear he won't be taken alive.
Derek Bell, he's the ringleader. This guy has money. He's violent. He's a head organizer of sex prostitution rings. Not only that, he's using opioids, heroin, to get him hooked on and commit these sex acts.
Derek Bell is 5'9", 195 pounds, and police stress he is armed and dangerous. If you see Bell, do not approach him and call 911 immediately.
We need to find these three heinous, violent fugitives. These are still at the top of our charts from 2018. The partnership's been great. We arrested dozens and dozens of violent felons, violent fugitives, but we can't stop here.
Now, as always, there's a cash reward for any information leading to the arrest of any of Detroit's most wanted, and you can call the U.S. Marshals anytime and remain anonymous at 313-234-5656. Alan.
All right, so we see that it came out with Detroit's most wanted, right? We see who was all up on there, right? Again, we don't condone criminality. Again, if you do some things that ain't supposed to be right, again, according to if you want to get a white man that time, you go ahead and you do that, right? Again, everybody got their reasons for why they do what they do, due to, again, historical reasons and disenfranchisement and stuff. Sometimes that's part of just surviving, right? So we see that, again, that's just what it is, right? You know, sometimes some people say crime pays, sometimes crime don't pay. Right, but you had, again, there was a lot of brothers that was up on there in that picture, right? And this is Detroit, right? Well, I seen this, right? I seen this part. And I said, well, maybe this got something to do with it. Right? I mean, they really over here messing with my stuff too, huh? All right, so let me take you here first. I don't know how many I got on this one here. Let's see, hold on. Let me make sure this is right. All right, let's see. Let's see. All right, check this out. Right, play this. Be right back. Bankruptcy leaves Detroit police abuse claims unpaid. You know I'm going to say that again. Bankruptcy leaves Detroit police abuse claims unpaid. This story was done December the 29th, 2018 from the Associated Press. And this is how it reads. Detroit AP. Detroit could have been on the hook for millions of dollars in a lawsuit alleging police abuse. Lawyers, however, are closing the case after 8 years, acknowledging that the claims of possibly 200,000 people are practically worthless. The reason? Detroit's 2013 bankruptcy. The 2010 lawsuit, which described poor conditions in holding cells and excessive detentions, was in progress when Detroit became the largest United States city to seek protection from creditors. The city eventually emerged with a clean balance sheet, a robust downtown, and a national buzz among millennials. But a new, flush Detroit doesn't mean a windfall for people who won the class action case. Instead, they would need to get in line like other creditors because the lawsuit was pending during the bankruptcy. Attorneys worked on a settlement with the city but concluded it wasn't practical. A $1,000 recovery per person could be worth as little as $40 and paid over many years. The costs involved issuing and mailing these checks will be greater than the value of the checks themselves, attorney Cindy said in a court filing. A federal judge got an update on November 28th and told both sides to draft an order for him to decertify the class, which is still pending. It has nothing to do with the merits of their case, explained attorney Anthony Sabino, who followed Detroit's bankruptcy and teaches business law at St. John's University in New York. This is an unfortunate but unavoidable outcome when a party files for bankruptcy. They're in this huge ocean of general creditors, and there's really nothing to be had for them. They're only eligible to share in the pennies left over. The lawsuit was filed on behalf of Jonathan Brown and thousands of people who had been arrested by police years earlier. The Detroit Police Department was accused of keeping crime suspects in cold, barrel-holding cells with no bedding and little food. The lawsuit said people were routinely held for more than 48 hours without review by a judge. Brown was detained for 55 hours during a homicide investigation and eventually succumbed to the DPD detectives' tactics and gave a coerced statement, according to the lawsuit. The city did a poor job defending itself against the allegations. Indeed, U.S. District Judge Thomas Lutland entered a judge or default on the question of whether Detroit was liable. He said there were negligence and neglect and inattentions by city attorneys who repeatedly missed deadlines to produce documents about the holding cells. He turned the case into a class action in 2012, potentially affecting 200,000 people. But then Detroit filed for bankruptcy in 2013, freezing any litigation and drastically affecting efforts to collect money when the bankruptcy was over. As part of the deal to close the case, the city has agreed to pay the $100,000 to attorneys who represented Brown and potential class. Say also told the judge that Detroit has fixed problems that led to the lawsuit. Say, a lawyer at Lovey & Lovey in Chicago, didn't respond to phone calls and emails from Associated Press seeking comment. Brown, who is in prison for second-degree murder, declined to comment. He will get $5,000 as the lead plaintiff. What the attorneys are getting is a drop in the bucket, says Sabino, referring to the $100,000 is basically expenses. The attorneys are taking a bath. They're sharing the pain. A lawyer for Detroit, Chuck Romney, said the lawsuit was caught in two very difficult areas of law: bankruptcy and class action lawsuit. He acknowledged the case could have cost millions of dollars without the protection of bankruptcy, but he also noted that the city might have pursued appeals too. As painful as it is, what folks have to recognize is this is why Detroit's on the mend. By resolving past claims that ended the financial catastrophe the city has labored under for years, Sabino said. All right. So again, as I showed you prior before that, the video of the most wanted in Detroit seemed to have been a lot of black men, right? Right? It was this whole bunch of brothers that seemed to be like, man, they try to do what they do, whatever they got to do to survive. Because again, as this article talked about in Detroit, it talks about that there's over 200,000 cases in the city of Detroit where citizens were, filing against police officers about abuses and, falsely incarceration and all that. And that had totaled up to millions and millions of dollars. But based on what I read and how I interpreted it, was like, okay, they found a loophole to get out of it. They paid the lawyers $100,000 for their expenses. Well, okay, you took the case. Again, being a lawyer, right? It's like saying our people being a lawyer for black people. You're not going to be rich. You're not going to be having a real lucrative life, right? Because, again, your people don't got money. So you're not going to be living opulent life, right? So, again, well, you took the case of them. You weren't going to get no real money from them. No way, but take this $100,000 for your troubles. Now, we're going to deal with them. Now, this is how they dealt with them, right? And so when 2010, Detroit was going through financial issues, right? So the city ended up filing for bankruptcy. Now, while these cases were pending to be paid, they got caught up in the bankruptcy. And so, if anything about bankruptcy, they end up putting like any other creditors in line waiting to get your money if there's any money to get. So now the lawyers come back to the city and say, them cases been pending for how long? Them cases had been pending for over so damn long, to the fact that the lawyer's like, well, y'all ain't gonna never get damn paid. So what we're gonna do is we just gonna end up just dropping these cases because, again, the city don't got no money to pay you, and due to the simple fact that they filed for bankruptcy, there's other creditors ahead of you. So if they was to give you any money, let's say that they would even break it down to $1,000 per 40, that it would take years to even get $40, because it said shit based on the little check that they would write you just for the $40. It was more expensive to write the check than the money they was giving you. So it seemed to me that they found the loophole not to pay you. That's a lot of people and a lot of cases that had won but can't get paid. Well, guess what you think gonna happen? You gonna have America's Most Wanted motherfuckers out there trying to get that, because the system did what it did. Maybe took somebody's life, again, getting incarcerated, taking years of your life, again, wrongfully incarcerated and wrongfully convicted and all these other things, and then you finally get it and you win the case and you can't get the money. Well, I guess what's going to probably happen. Now, I'm not saying that these individuals per se that's what happened to them, but I'm just saying they coming from the same city, this is the manifest with 200,000 cases. You gonna tell me they ain't touching somebody? Right? I'll tell you, but it's all right. Every time you black deal with this, always got some little underneath some way, break the glass case of emergency. We're gonna get up out of this one, There's a loophole right there, right? So ain't that something, 200,000 people can't get paid, won their case, just dragging it along, and they found the loophole, got the bankruptcy, and shit, you'll die out before you even get any money. But yet they done. Now, to file the bankruptcy, you know how bankruptcy work. They got a clean slate. They start all over again. They finna build up. The millennials are running. Everybody wants to come to Detroit. They build it up, but all the people holding the bag is the people who, again, depending if you lost some years of life and whatever transpired, hopefully nobody didn't get killed, so forth like that. But you holding the bag. You didn't get nothing, even though you got a W. You got the win, but you didn't get the win. You just got, again, like a paper tiger. On paper, it look good, but you ain't getting nothing tangible in your hand. All right. We're getting close on that because, again, we want to get out of here before it starts shooting. So I got one more story, right? Yeah, I don't know where y'all at, but I got to get out of here before it starts shooting. All right, so here we go. This one here is going. This one gives the cherry on top of the icing for this particular story. I had did the other day, but those who seen that video, they made it so bad you couldn't hear it. Sound gruffy, sound like McGruff talking and shit. So they fucked that all up. So I'll come back tonight because of just what I just said. But check this one out for those who might be in this area. Check this out. Be right back. I gotta get out of here soon. Coming from the Southern City Police or the Sacramento Bee. This is how it reads. Los Angeles. A Southern California city plans to shred more than 100 police shootings and internal investigation records ahead of a new state law that could allow the public to access the documents for the first time. The city of Inglewood made the decision at a city council meeting earlier this month, according to a report by the Los Angeles Times. The move is troubling to the civil liberties advocates who were behind the new law, which makes public internal investigation of officers involved shootings, other major uses of force, and confirmed cases of sexual assault and lying while on duty. The law takes effect January 1st. Inglewood's decision undermines police accountability and transparency against the will of Californians. Marcus Benigno, a spokesman for the American Civil Liberties Union of Southern California, said in a statement. The legislature passed the law because communities demanded an end to the secrecy cloaking police misconduct and use of force, he said. A spokesman for the Inglewood Police Department, along with Inglewood City Manager, Attorney Clerk, 4 council members, and Mayor James T. Butt, did not respond to requests for comments. Although California law requires police departments to retain records of officers involved in shootings and internal misconduct investigations for 5 years, Inglewood has kept some records much longer than that. Some case files of police shootings date back to 1991. The City Council approved the destruction of records that have been in the police department possession, more than 100 cases longer than required by law. City documents describing the action makes no mention of the new law. Instead, the documents say the affected records are obsolete, occupying valuable space, and are no further use to the police departments. It is unclear whether the records have been destroyed. Police departments in California have a long history of destroying records to avoid scrutiny. In the 1970s, the Los Angeles Police Department destroyed more than 4 tons of personal records after defense attorneys began requesting them as part of criminal cases against their clients. The move resulted in dismissal of more than 100 criminal complaints. In response, the California legislature demanded records be preserved, but took other measures supported by police unions to ensure the public had very little access to them. The new police transparency law is an attempt to unwind the previous legislation passed in 1978. Other police officials have been pushing back against the law. A San Bernardino police union is asking the state Supreme Court to find that the law should only apply to incidents that occur. Police Chief Michael Moore argues that applying the law to incidents older than 2019 could take hundreds of thousands of work hours. To get me off there, don't you? You be working to try to get that mic off, don't you? I know. Anyway, we're going to do it what it is. So, again, South Central or Inglewood, right? So they decided in California that they about to have a law again in about a few minutes from now, January, they're going to start having where they can now be transparent that you can now go get the police records. But they said, hell no, we about to destroy all that shit. You ain't finna see none of that shit, right? Kind of like what we just saying in Detroit. See, again, it's one thing to be on one side when the civilian or the citizen is in the wrong and you are apprehended by the law. We have to do according to what the law said. But it's like it's a different standard when the law is breaking the law. Then it's like, no, it don't count with us. Like that don't fall with us. That only applies to you, right? And so here it is. They have a transparency law. Again, people want to know because, again, they say they're going back to 1991, right? They're going to say they only going to destroy 100 cases. What, since 91? That's 27 years? You going to tell me 100? Get out of here. Right? He said 4 tons. He didn't want to tell you the number. They said how heavy it was. 4 tons at paper? You know, that's a lot of case. So, you know, they want to get rid of that because, again, you know, they don't want the citizens, again, having that kind of information, especially if you have some type of, you know, cop that's doing a dirty cop, and then you be able to dredge up in his back. That'll make you easy to beat your case or dismiss the case or, you know what I'm saying, get some compensation or be like Detroit, don't get nothing. Get a W, but you don't get nothing with it, nothing tangible that you can hold that your family can, you know, gain from you being wrongfully incarcerated, convicted, accused, or whatever it might be, right? Interrogated, whatever it might be, but again, double standards. But again, this is the land we live in, and we being DNOS in this land. Again, we know it's 2 countries. It's the white side and the black side. But again, I'm trying to get up out of here, you know, because it's almost that time. I want to thank everybody who came here tonight. They said I don't listen to a brother before this. Again, my new show come on after the day. Later on the day for the new show. I don't want to be on for that one. So, hit that like button, dislike button, comment, say I ain't shit. Whatever it is you want to say. I want to appreciate everybody once again. Stay black. See one another. Give that national nod to one another. What's good, sister, and all that good stuff, right? John Henry Clark done told us all we got is each other, right? And if we can't find that no commonality in that, then then everything ain't no friends or nothing. They got all but enemies. But that ain't true. We just got to see that for the best of what it is and understand that we only in this by ourselves. To the next show, y'all. Stay peace, love, and happy grease and all that good stuff. A quick shout out who out in here right quick. Most everybody done broke out already, so it's all good. So David Hakeem, Leonard Yuta, Fresh as Hell, ITW, FW, Fela Kuti, Indigenous King, Lorenzo Williams, and all. Y'all have yourself a good 219. Until the next show. Peace, love, and hair grease, y'all. Not even gonna do the real intro. I'm gonna just do the light one, because I got to get out of here and get out about these windows, because that's where I'm from, baby. It's still popping. So anyway, peace, love, y'all.